On this episode, we review our recent Disney Magic cruise, and in this episode, we cover the food, the drink, and tasting seminars. Today's May 17th, 2024. This is episode 668 of the Main Street Magic Podcast.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts, Main Street Magic's bringing it home for you.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Main Street Magic. I'm your host, Jeremy Stein, and as always, I'm joined by my lovely wife, Rhonda.
Hey, guys.
Make sure you check us out on the web at mainstmagic.com, as well as follow on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at mainstmagic. If you've not done so already, head out to Facebook and search for the Main Street Magic community and ask to join. Then if you go ahead and hit that subscribe button, you get brand new episodes every Tuesday and Friday. If you were planning that trip to Disneyland or Walt Disney World, you did not get the advanced dining reservations that you wanted so badly, have no fear because Mouse Dining removes the frustration of booking Disney dining reservations, alerting you when they spot availability for your desired restaurant, date, meal, and time. Visit msmfriends.com to use this free service. Then if you're looking for your next travel adventure, whether it's to one of the theme parks, on a cruise, or pretty much travel anywhere else in the world, head out to mainstmagictravel.com and fill out a form for a free quote. Our travel services are completely free to you. Buckle up, y'all. This is going to be a long one. We are going to split the actual cruise portion into two episodes. Last episode, we talked about kind of preparing, planning, selecting your Disney cruise ship, and we are going to go all in on our actual cruise. Mm-hmm. But it is a lot of information, a whole lot. So we're going to break it up. And in this episode, we are going to focus on the food, the beverages, and then some tasting seminars that you got a chance to do. So we'll round it out with that. But there is a lot to get out there. So this probably will take a little bit of time.
Okay, I'm ready.
To start off, though, we do want to do a couple reminders about your booking reminders for things like port excursions, these dining opportunities. Like we're going to talk about Palo,
yes,
which is extra paid activity that you would want to book. The tasting seminars that Rhonda did. If you were looking at putting your kids in the nursery, there's kids club activities. Castaway Key that we will cover next episode does have private cabanas you can book. And if you remember, there are those different levels. So for first time guests, you have never cruised before, you're going to be able to book these types of things at 75 days out. Mm-hmm. If you are a Silver Castaway Club member, which means you have already done one cruise, that is 90 days out. Gold Castaway, after 5 cruises, you're 105 days out from booking. Platinum Castaway Club members are after 10 cruises, and that will be 120 days out. Pearl Castaway Club members are after 25 cruises. Something to look forward to, Rhonda.
Okay.
Only 23 more to go.
Okay.
And we are Pearl Castaway Club members, and we can book at 123 days out. And then if you are one of the illustrious concierge guests, you can book at 130 days out.
So let's talk about some extra tips just so you don't miss stuff, like downloading the app before you go, and the DCL app, the Disney Cruise Line. First of all, it shows you have a cruise countdown, which
everyone loves.
I love that.
Cute little emojis.
It is funny because you brought a good point where unfortunately it will count down to the day, so midnight. Mm-hmm. Not to actually your cruise day or time.
Yeah, that thing hit 0 and I was laying in bed.
Yeah.
I was like, why am I not on a cruise ship right now?
Yeah, and that's where you can also do all your booking, your checking in. And when I say all your booking, there also is where you can go and buy things like shop and have things set up in your room. Mm-hmm. You can do that usually about, I think, a week out, up to a week out.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then, when you download the app while you're on the cruise, that's what you have to connect to be able to do, texting with your party that you're on board with. That's where you find, everything where characters are meeting and greeting and things are happening, entertainment, all the things.
Yeah.
This
is the entire cruise ship in your hand. It's my Disney experience for the cruise. And most of these things like your entertainment activities, your itineraries for the day, things like that, character meet and greets, they won't show up till you're on board.
Correct.
And you are connected to that DCL Wi-Fi. So sometimes it makes things a little hard to plan ahead, but hopefully these 2 episodes will help with some of that as you get an idea of what types of things are available. Not all ports require a passport, but it can make your life much, much easier having one.
If you get off.
If you get off, especially if something were to go awry.
Mm-hmm.
Last thing you want to do is miss the ship and be stuck in one of these ports and not have your passport.
Yeah.
But it's not always necessary for you to get off at a port like Nassau and have one. You can get by with your ID and your key to the world card, but get it now. Whenever your cruise is, get it now. They're estimating 10 to 13 weeks for standard applications on passports and still 7 to 9 weeks if you pay for that expedited application.
I know we should probably get ours again.
Yeah, we need to just go ahead and take care of it before we have anything planned. Just because we don't know where the next cruise may take us. We're looking to maybe do one that's a little lengthier. And so it still would be nice just to have it.
Mm-hmm.
And those last, I think 5 years. So it's been like 5 years since it's been longer than that since we've even had one.
Yeah.
We've been out of the country since our honeymoon. So probably time to go ahead and get one. You can bring your own alcoholic beverages on board. Now, this is limited to 2 bottles of wine or a 6-pack of beer per person over the age of 21, of course.
Yes.
So just something to note if you do want to bring some of those on board, no hard liquor or anything like that. And if you do want to bring a bottle of wine to one of your dinners, there is a $26 per bottle corking fee. Now, you could bring a glass of wine to dinner. You could pour one in a cup and bring that to one of your dinners, and that's fine. But if you bring that bottle, that full unopened bottle, they are going to cork it for you, pour it for you, and they're going to charge you $26. So just something to note. You might not want that $6 barefoot, $6 bottle of barefoot wine at your dinner table when all of a sudden they're going to charge you $26 just to open it for you. I don't even know if barefoot has a cork, to be honest.
I started to say the wine that you had was a screw
mine
off.
Mine was a screw off top.
Did he charge you?
No.
Are you sure?
No. Yes, I am. And
how do you know?
We can talk about that.
I'm just kidding.
We can talk about that when we get to that meal. But I did bring a bottle to one of the meals. And then if you get on board, you're going to find, especially when we're talking about dining, if you get on board and they assign your dining rotation then. So you will find out exactly where you're dining on each of the nights. If you do not like that, let's just say that in our example with the restaurants on our ship on the Magic, let's just say Lumiere's was your first night and Animator's Palette was your last night. And you're thinking, I really kind of wanted to save a little bit more of the non-show, more elegant, finer dining for my last night. You can go straight to guest services and see about switching it up. Usually they can help you out and move your dining around.
Nice.
Now, in our situation, that causes a little bit more of an issue because we had 7 of us in 3 different reservations. So, you'd have to look at moving everybody, but it is something you can look at if you get on board and you don't love your dining. Right?
Okay.
Also, this is an interesting tip I picked up by watching some of the Disney food blog cruise videos. There's no guarantee, but if you're a wine drinker and you go to some of the bars, you can ask about the sommelier bin. So this is when a bottle of wine is opened on the cruise, they need to finish it by the end of that night. The bottle of wine, they have to pour all of that, the bars and lounges.
Okay.
So it doesn't go to waste. Otherwise, they're going to basically pour it out. Because of that, if somebody that day orders a certain bottle of wine or a glass of a certain wine that maybe is a little bit more expensive, Disney wants to get rid of it, get what they can. You might be able to get a lower price on a fancier, higher priced glass of wine.
That's cool.
If you ask about this.
Okay.
Again, no guarantee,
right.
But if you're a wine drinker, it is worth asking your wait staff or bartender.
Yeah.
Rhonda, why don't you talk a little bit before we get into all of the restaurants and food about what rotational dining is, how the service works?
Okay. It's super cool. Like Jeremy just said, you get on your cruise in the DCL app what restaurants you go to each night. And because we were on a 4-night, we had Animator's Palette first. And then we had
Rapunzel's Royal
thank
Table
you.
was Saturday night.
And then
Friday night.
Had Royal Table again.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had Lumiere's.
Yeah.
So it was twice for Rapunzel's, which like sometimes you might be like, oh, yay. But then you might eat somewhere else and be like, oh, man, I kind of want that again.
And you're not forced to go to any of this dining.
Correct.
You're just missing out on what you've paid for because this dining is included. So
correct.
You could go ahead and you could skip every night of dining and eat pizza. I mean, you could do whatever you wanted, but you are going to miss out.
Yes. Especially because some of them are shows and it's really fun and some of the food's good.
Yeah.
But the servers, which I think this is really cool with Disney, and I'm not sure about any other cruise, and maybe it's every cruise, but you get a stateroom person that basically is with you the entire cruise, and that is your designated stateroom. You also get these servers that is the main server, the assistant server, and then you have one main guy over that, and they follow you to each night.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really cool.
It's great.
I love it. They kind of get to know you. Yeah. It's you get to know them. It's awesome. It's really cool.
It is. And again, they'll get to know you to the point of, like Chuck and Amy had a Diet Coke every time they sat down. Well, that was just brought to them. Yeah. They knew. Our servers knew that, Ari and Julius knew that.
Yep.
We had the girls with us, Riley and Maddie, who didn't want anything off the grown-up menus. Yeah. So every night that they sat, there was a kids menu ready for them to go.
Which was super cute.
It was great. And and Amy, having sensitivity to gluten, every night before the next night, they were able to take her order, let her know what was on the menu so that she could just show up and not worry about it. Yeah. So she was actually able to place her order before we even arrived the next night. And she didn't have to worry about anything. So, you think about like going to some of your favorite places at Disney World. Like, we love going to Bar Riva. Yeah. But you could decide, hey, I'm going to go sit down at Bar Riva and have something to drink or grab something to eat all 4 nights of my trip. You're not guaranteed who's working there. You're guaranteed who's on this ship. They're on the same cruise you are. They're staying all 4 nights and going through the whole thing just the same way you are. So it really is cool, and you get to know them. And by the last night, I guarantee you're asking for photos with your service, your service team and everything because you've now made pretty much new friends. So let's dive into all of the dining that is available, and this will be an interesting one. I will say off the bat up front, and I think you would agree, maybe not as much as me. Overall, I think the food was disappointing.
I will not 100% agree with that because I thought some of it was fine, but I
didn't say all of it.
Well, I said, but hear me out. Yeah. I do agree with you and think it was disappointing. It always hurts my heart because I'm not a foodie like you are. So I get sad when you're really disappointed because I like to see you happy because you cook and you're really good at it. So I think I'm more sad because you weren't blown away. So.
Well, and we've been very fortunate to have some incredible meals lately at Disney World, from California Grill and Tiffin's, we've Narcoossee's, we've had some really good meals just as of late. And we personally have come to find, most of the dining at Disney World of a very high quality, some of the best restaurants we've ever eaten at. And so I don't know if I went into this just expecting that same level, and we'll talk about each individual item that we had and how it compares to things. And now coming out of it and being, several days off the cruise, I definitely have a different thought about the food than I did while I was eating it, if that makes sense. I've had time to process, what we had and kind of put some comparisons into place, and we will certainly cover those. Yeah. But let's start with Cabanas, which is their quick service buffet. This is available for breakfast and lunch each day on your trip. This is available on the Magic, on the Disney Wonder, the Dream, and the Fantasy.
Okay.
Let's talk about Cabanas, some of the offerings, the availability of it, the atmosphere, and let's start with breakfast. What were your thoughts on breakfast and what Cabanas had to offer?
I'm not a huge breakfast person, but I really I like that there was sausage, because sometimes I like that instead of bacon. I like there was varieties. That's what I should say.
Mm-hmm.
Much varieties. Of course, there's Mickey waffles. I liked breakfast and all the offerings that it had. What did you think? I did like the grits. They had some grits that I got those, and then I asked for cheddar cheese, and then mixed all that together, and that was pretty good.
Yeah, and one thing to note is that you're not forced to do Cabanas for breakfast. There are some other sit-down offerings that you can do, like, for example, Lumiere's on the Magic is available, Triton's on the Disney Wonder, Royal Palace on the Disney Dream, Royal Court on the Disney Fantasy, and then Enchanted Garden is available on the Dream and the Fantasy. I thought breakfast was every possible option you could think of.
Yeah.
I mean, they really did. You had every type of egg. You had an omelet station.
Mm-hmm.
You had Mickey waffles. You had all sorts of pancakes.
And
regular pancakes and chocolate chip pancakes, your sausage. You had bacon. You had a small area that they were serving different meats and cheeses. I can't think of anything that was missing from breakfast.
Agree, because not only with the grits was there oatmeal and stuff like that.
Yeah, like full oatmeal bars.
And,
yogurts, cereals,
fruits,
for kids,
tons of fruits.
There was every possible breakfast scenario you could think of. Eggs Benedict ready to roll.
Yes.
So I really thought the breakfast offerings were great. On the last morning, they had the infamous Mickey churro waffles.
Holy moly. I only ate one, and I'm super sad. I only ate one.
We had Palo for brunch that day at 11.
Yes.
And so I'd heard about them. I kept looking for them. This was the first day I saw them, was on that Sunday on Mother's Day. And we each got one. And they're absolutely unbelievable.
They were so good.
They need to put these in the parks. They need to put these everywhere.
So good.
I think, and we'll get to some of the lunch offerings here in a minute. I think Cabanas overall had incredible offerings, but suffered a little bit of the same fate that we found at 1900 Park Fair.
Yes.
That your temperature of food didn't seem completely consistent. For example, when you got to the Eggs Benedict.
Right.
What I think I'm learning is don't put Eggs Benedict on a buffet. And if you are, I would have it be create your own. These are already made.
Yeah, that's
true. It is
true.
the English muffin. It's the ham or Canadian bacon. It's your poached egg, and it's the hollandaise sauce. They're pre-made. They're pre-ready. They're sitting under a warming light on a tray, and they're just not at that fresh temperature. The hollandaise can tighten up a little bit. It almost breaks that hollandaise sauce a little bit. And I think if instead they had all of the components of an Eggs Benedict that you got to serve yourself, including a fresher, hotter hollandaise sauce, I think it could have been better.
Yeah.
So that was really my only fault with breakfast.
Yeah, because in the egg, like, I know when I opened it up, you said that actually is a perfectly cooked poached egg. But I think because it wasn't as warm, it kind of just made me nervous. Yeah. And then I know you said that Gaston drank raw eggs, but I don't want to do that.
Rocky drank raw eggs.
So did Gaston.
Well, he ate eggs.
Okay.
He ate 5 dozen eggs.
Yeah.
Although, he didn't really clarify how they were prepared. I imagined him as either a scrambled or hard-boiled guy. Wouldn't you think?
I think in the cartoon it shows them raw.
It shows them raw?
I think so.
Well, that's fair. Then he's on that Rocky diet. But he would have come before Rocky, so technically Rocky would have been on the Gaston diet.
Okay.
So, but I thought breakfast at Cabanas was exactly what you'd expect it to be. Like, you can't be disappointed.
No,
I don't know anywhere.
I wasn't disappointed.
I don't know anywhere you're going to go to a breakfast buffet and find piping hot, made 1 second earlier Eggs Benedict. So I have no complaint about them.
Oh, right,
I just knew after the first day, I probably won't get Eggs Benedict again, but
Right.
I enjoyed breakfast every single morning. And there's a ton of seating in cabanas, including outside on the deck, which I really enjoyed, both covered and a little bit in the sunlight.
Yep.
But it's just a great spot. It's open. I believe it opened at like 7 a.m., runs till 10 a.m.
Okay.
So you have a lot of time in there. Of course, you've got your sodas, your coffees,
Oh, yeah.
your teas, juices.
Mm-hmm.
All of that is available. I loved it. And for me, that would carry over into lunch. I mean, to be honest, when we talk about every place here, Cabanas gets my highest praise.
Yeah.
As bad as it is.
Okay, so I thought we were starting with Cabanas getting on the ship when we got on, because when we got on, it was 11 something and it was open. And I kind of, once we got on, I kind of was like, now what? And then I was like, oh, wait, we get to go eat.
Yeah.
So, we went straight up to Cabanas to eat. And I mean, I was very, very impressed and shocked by the amount of peel and eat shrimp and crab legs that was on this bar area, that then also had cocktail sauce. And then I did hear somebody ask for butter, and they could get some melted butter.
Nice.
And they had crackers for the claws, and these were not your boathouse shrimp. These were nice, huge. I could eat a whole shrimp in one bite, but my mouth would be so full and I'd almost be, so I would bite it in half because that's how big the shrimp were.
Yeah. They were fantastic. Most perfect steamed.
Yes, they were.
Cold steamed shrimp.
Yep.
You know, like you'd get in a really good shrimp cocktail or something. And my focus was going to be on crab legs this whole time, every time it was open. And I mean, again, you got a picture for us, breakfast and lunch. You're talking a good 100 feet of buffet line, if not more.
Yeah, there's a lot.
And it's double sided. So you had one on each side, and you kind of take to one side.
Crazy.
But again, you're talking, I mean, I can't even name the amount of stuff that they had on this buffet.
I can't either. And every single day there was a certain section that was new or different. Like I felt like the day we got on was a Chinese. Is that the right way to say it?
Yeah, it was like an
there's
Asian. Was
Asian.
their specialty of the day? Was their corner? They called it.
Yes.
So the one day there was like an Asian corner. One day we had a basic taco and like fajita bar, which included ground beef. It included a Mexican pulled pork, chicken, all of the different toppings, hard taco shells, tortillas. I mean, they even had the metal like V-shaped taco holders for you to line up.
Right, you did.
And make your tacos in so they weren't falling over. And again, all the fixings you could think of. One day it was Indian, and they had butter chicken. Like they had pita, and they had like the cucumber raedas. They had like, you could almost make your own little bread service. You had rice. Every day they had some form of pasta station every day with noodles and marinara. They had a carving station, which included everything from like ham to roasted turkey. One day I know they had like a Jamaican jerk chicken. They had steak. I mean, like
they had
it
lamb,
just goes on and on.
Little lamb legs, like or whatever.
Yeah,
bone.
little like lamb, almost like
what
fillets.
you see at the festival with Australia.
Yeah, lamb
that
chops.
It was good. That one, I really liked it.
Yeah.
I got it the first day. The lamb was cooked perfect.
It was
nice medium. Like it was fantastic. I really actually, and I was like, and it was funny because I think Amy said I was allowed to pick it up and gnaw on it. Because I was like, it was because of the bone. It was kind of hard. And she's like, here, I think you're okay. Now, if we were at Lumiere's, maybe not.
Maybe a little different.
But I did. I picked it up and gnawed on it. And I really actually liked it. I didn't eat more just because, but that lamb was really good to me.
All kinds of stuff for the kids. Mac and cheese, chicken tenders. Let's talk about chicken tenders, okay?
Okay.
I'm very confused because I have seen nothing but the utmost praise that Disney Cruise chicken tenders are the best thing in the world, and they're very, very good, but they're exactly what you're getting in the theme parks. So I was a little confused. I thought it was going to be something different, and I think they're great. Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
I was just expecting something. I guess I was expecting like Publix chicken tenders, right?
Okay.
Not frozen, delicious, but just fry them up and hand them out. I don't know. But overall, I thought Cabanas was great. It was perfect. And I didn't feel that the lunch suffered from the heat issues, temperature issues that maybe breakfast did as much. And maybe that was just based on the items. But this is one of those where if you can't find something for breakfast or lunch at Cabanas, I don't know what you're looking for, especially as it comes to children and picky eaters. Yeah. There is something for everybody on here. Now, I'm not saying every single item was the best. You know, they had these little slivers of steak that they weren't the best.
Right.
You know, they had like the little Jamaican pork patty thing, and they had little turkey fillets one day that were a little overcooked and dry. They weren't the best thing ever,
right.
But your options were incredible. And I sat down most days and just filled my plate with crab legs.
Yeah, you did.
So
I love the little dessert area too.
Yeah, talk about how many dessert offerings they had.
I mean, besides, of course, your ice cream.
Yeah.
But
hand scooped ice cream here.
There was.
To go along with any of your desserts.
I think it was the first day there was an apple tart, and it was, when I say hot, it was hot. Mm-hmm. Like when I cut into it, like steam was coming out, and there was hand scooped ice cream. So I got some vanilla ice cream to put on top. They did. And then it was really cute because they had really little kind of like, you know, like a little cheesecake, but, you know, 2-3 inches and like a little like mousse or just different things daily too. That was fun to go get. But I think that apple strudel little thing was good. One of my favorites.
I had a ton of the desserts and I don't remember one I didn't like.
Yeah.
If you've ever done any sort of dessert offering or party at Disney World, or you have done club at any of the Disney resorts, these are the desserts you're thinking of. They're usually 2-bite, maybe 3-bite, small desserts, which is great because you can have a couple of them.
Yep.
And most of them are absolutely delicious, and you have a ton of offerings from, carrot cake to mousses to like little cupcakes. I mean, the ice cream, the strudel, everything. Yep. So Cabanas was probably the highlight for me in that instance, especially when it came to the crab legs. I mean, hell, after we did Palo brunch on Sunday that we'll talk about, I went down and got crab legs because I wanted to have them like every day that I could. Yeah. The only day I didn't have them, we were on Castaway Cay.
Oh, that's right.
And I mean, we won't get too far ahead, but I would have gone back onto the boat. I should have gone back onto the boat and just gotten Cabanas for lunch on Castaway Cay. I did fall short. I wish I had eaten more. I did eat a total of 50 legs over the 3 meals. I did count. I ate 50 crab legs over the 3 times that I sat down at lunch for Cabanas. I was really, that's rookie numbers. I was really hoping to pump those up more.
Oh my goodness.
For next time. But again, there were so many good offerings.
Yeah.
Like the one day I sat down and I ate like 15 crab legs, and then I noticed they had the taco bar, and I was like, oh, I got to get me some of that.
Oh, yeah.
So then I didn't get any more crab legs. But let's move on to the pool deck, where there are quite a few offerings, and most of these will be open various times throughout the day, but most of the time from 7 a.m. to midnight, there is something for you to eat outside of 24/7 room service. Okay? Because we'll talk about that too. But let's start with the only place we didn't get anything from, and I have minimal regrets on this cruise. This is one of the minor ones, is that we did not get something from Duck Inn Diner. Now they have hamburgers, they have hot dogs. Okay, that's perfect for the little ones,
right? Or
just picky eaters. But they also have Middle Eastern inspired shawarma.
I did see that
bar. Of I think there was beef, there was chicken, and you got to basically build your own shawarma, however you wanted, with all of the toppings. And again, this is all included in the price of your cruise.
Yeah.
And it's the one thing we missed.
We did.
And we had
talked
talked
about
about doing
it, and I even said,
I know. We talked about having it one night because we did skip the second night of Rapunzel's Royal Table.
Correct.
And we thought about going to get that, and then just as crazy cruise life happens, you just end up eating a whole bunch of pizza or something instead.
Let's just say it was pizza.
But I think it's great that there's an offering like this that's right up there. It's accessible. So if you're, again, you're even though Cabanas is right there on the same level as the pool deck, Duck and Diner is really right there.
Mhm.
So if you really want something and you don't want to go back in and take the time to sit down and, go through the full buffet line, because it can get pretty hectic and it can back up some, you could go ahead and get some shawarma. Also Duck and Diner is available only on the Magic. Now they will have other offerings that are similar on all the other cruise ships, but this specific one is on the Magic only. Let's move on to ice cream treats.
Yes.
This is on the Magic, the Wonder, the Dream, the Fantasy. They do have something similar on the Wish. It's just, I think, goes by a different name.
Uh-huh.
This is soft serve ice cream.
Yes, it
pretty
is.
much whenever the heck you want it.
It closes.
It
we
does
saw
close.
that.
I know, but
It's
when
so
you really
good.
need it, it's available.
Yes.
What all was here?
Well, of course, your vanilla, your chocolate, and then your swirl. I also saw banana,
That was so good.
strawberry,
Mm-hmm.
and depending, it was, because now I might get Castaway Key confused, but there was a chocolate banana. I think that was on Castaway Key. You could swirl that, and holy moly, that was fantastic.
So good.
There was a strawberry chocolate swirl.
Mm-hmm.
This might have been on the boat. And then I believe it might have also been a strawberry banana swirl.
There was.
So, I mean, and then I think mango.
Mango,
had
there
at
was
one
one day.
point.
Yep. And these rotated. So you always
Yes,
had
they
your
did.
standard
Vanilla
and
and
chocolate and swirl. And then they rotated a flavor through the day here, which was the mango, the banana, the strawberry.
That banana.
Cake cones ready to go anytime
Every time.
you want. Fill them up.
Yep.
I think we mentioned before, you could go get a cup from the soda stations,
Yes.
which again are available sodas. There is a green tea on there. There's a pomegranate and blueberry acai, vitamin water available, your ginger ale, Sprites, Coke, Diet Coke, coffees, teas. All of these are available all the time right there on the pool deck.
Mm-hmm.
So you could go over there if you wanted and grab a cup and fill it up. We actually packed our own ice cream bowls.
We did. And
but
did
we never
use
did use them. No,
Nope.
we never did use them. So again, that's one of those things that you probably
I
don't need to
should have,
pack.
because I didn't want to eat the cake cone one time, and I got it, and I just filled the top
Mhm.
up top, and then once I got down to the cone, I just put it in the sink
Yeah.
upside down and let it melt away, and then
Yeah.
threw the cake cone away.
And this was the greatest thing. I mean, you don't want to be wasteful.
Mm-mm.
And I never made what I would consider a full cone. I would fill the cone, make sure that the whole cone was filled, like the inside
Mhm.
part, and then I would just do a little swirl on top because that's all I wanted. But I'd still end up eating the whole cone. But
So good.
but again, you can walk past this 20 times a day if you
So
want
good.
and have ice cream.
Mhm.
And I'm pretty sure people were, especially kids. And this was so perfect when you're sitting out by the pool and
Yeah.
it's hot and you just want this treat. You just walk up and boom, there you go.
Mhm.
What is right next to here?
That's your Frozen treats, which is available on the Magic, Dream, and Fantasy as well. And I saw a bunch of people getting those. Super cute. It's in like a wine glass, and it's your Dole Whip.
Mhm.
And it's super made pretty, and there's smoothies there. There's drinks you can get there. There's alcohol you can get there.
Now, these are all extra paid.
Yes.
And you could just, you can use your Disney Band Plus, or your Key to the World card, and they'll just charge it right back to your room here.
Yes.
But a
There
lot of different
also
offerings.
was a nice insulated cup they were selling. That was a Disney Cruise Line with Mickey on it. That was super cute. I think it was like $21 or so. Now, like your first drink came in it, which was water, or like Amy got like a coffee latte type thing. But other than that, it wasn't like a free refill. It was weird. It was just, you're paying for the cup, which is great because they do, like you said, have the little cups that are paper for sodas and stuff. But this cup you could take, and then, it's not sweating. It's not starting to fall apart. So.
And we talked about that in your packing, know that these are available to purchase. So if you are a souvenir style person the way we are, we know that if they've got a cup like this, we're going to buy it. We had packed some just in case.
Yeah.
But I would either pack a Yeti, something with the top, something that can close. I made sure to fill this up every single night with ice cold water. We didn't bother bringing water on board this time. We didn't bother buying the cooler full of water bottles that you could when you got on board or throughout the trip up by the pool areas. I just filled this thing every single night, and I had cold water all night. I had it in the morning. I took it with me everywhere. It was really, really nice to have. So either buy one on board or just go ahead and pack something. Right around that other side in this whole same like little island area between the pool areas was what?
Pinocchio's Pizzeria. And this is on the Magic and the Wonder. And that was really good. And a nice little sign was sitting in it that said gluten-free pizza available. Just have to ask. Amy did that a couple of times. The first time she did it, we sat together and I tasted it, and this was fantastic.
It was. You would never guess this was gluten-free.
No. In fact, I would almost dare to say it was better than
no
the
need
actual
to dare, my friend.
pizza.
It was better than the actual pizza. I thought so. It was a really super thin crust.
Yes, it was.
It seemed fresh made.
Yep.
The rest of these, again, I'm not going to complain about these. I don't even know how many slices. I ate at least a dozen slices of pizza.
Are you serious?
At least. This was another one where I would just walk by and be like, I might as well eat a slice of pizza. And I just remember I gained 5 pounds.
Oh my goodness.
So I would pretty much just walk by and get a slice of pizza.
Wow.
If there was especially if there was nobody in line, I just went up and got one. But they're pre-made crusts.
Didn't they have pizza of the day?
They did.
Okay.
Yeah. So they had pre-made crusts that you watch them. They were, topping right in front of you. They're throwing them in a pizza oven.
Yeah.
This isn't Disney Resort pizza. But this is still something that you're going okay, we came home and kids wanted pizza. And I started going online. I was going to order from Marco's, and I was just like, okay, first of all, delivery pizza has gotten out of hand by prices. It's absurd now. It really is. And so I was even going to go pick it up just out of spite. I was like, I'm not paying all these extra fees now to have it delivered. And even once I put in like 2 pizzas, it was going to be well over $30-something for like 2 medium pizzas. And I'm just like, this is ridiculous. I'll go up to Publix and I'll just get a frozen pizza at probably $10 or less each. And I even got like their nicest pizza. This is example of what you're going to go and buy frozen and heat it up.
Okay.
It's not bad. It's just what it is.
Right.
Nobody's hand tossing dough in front of you, and that's fine. Every day they had a margarita pizza with fresh slices of tomato. Was great.
Yep.
They had a 4-cheese pizza that was delicious, actually. And really your only
Is that the one with the blue cheese on it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really really good.
So good.
Yeah.
They had pepperoni every day, and the crust was crispy.
Yeah.
It was, again, it's not a yeasty handmade crust.
Right.
Who cares? It's pizza, right? And then every day they had a pizza of the day. One day was sausage. One day was a plant-based sausage.
Was good.
One day we had a mushroom, and then the last day was a barbecue chicken. Was the only one I missed out on, because by the time I went to get it that evening, they were backed up. I don't know if they had a bunch in the oven or they hadn't made any, but I stood there for about 10 or 15 minutes.
Oh, wow.
And they were bringing out some cheese ones and some pepperoni, but I had yet to see barbecue chicken, and I wasn't going to bother them. The same girl was working it like every day, so she knew who I was, I think, by the end. So I didn't get that one, but it's just perfect. They're open till midnight. And trust me, there's going to be times where at 11 p.m. you're just like, I could go for a slice of pizza.
Yeah.
And you get as many as you want. I saw dads go up there that were like, I'll take 6 slices. And that was your whole pizza. And they just basically handed them a whole pizza. And they're firing them up. Every last one, you need to let cool for a minute or two.
Oh, yeah, I burned my mouth.
Not once did I have a slice of pizza that I felt had been sitting there for longer than 5 minutes at most.
I agree.
They were fresh, they were hot, and they were delicious for what they were.
Yep.
So I loved having this available.
Yes.
Next, there is Preludes. Now, this is available in the Magic, Wonder, Dream, and Fantasy. This is going to be outside of the theater. We're going to see the Broadway-style shows. This is going to offer you, these are additional charges. You can buy popcorn buckets.
Which is super cool, because they had like tomato. They had an Easter Chip and Dale.
Yeah, they had the drinks. They had the Crush drink, right?
Yep.
The Sven drink.
They had
the
Olaf. They had
sipper. We had a couple. Yeah, the tomato popcorn bucket, the one you're talking Chippendale, the Easter bucket. I think there was another one available.
They had a Disney Cruise Line one.
Yeah, which we got, which had the all current 5 ships represented on it. And do you remember what we paid for it? It was not a lot. It was not as much as the in-park buckets.
No,
and it's still dollar
but it
refills,
was a $1.50
refills.
refill.
Yeah, and it's that delicious movie style popcorn.
Yeah,
buttery. We got it for the first night that we did the show,
and we didn't get it again.
No, we didn't.
But that's fine.
Yeah, it was just one of those. Again, I didn't feel like carrying it around because the shows, and we'll talk entertainment next time. The shows were at 6 that we would go to, and then our dinner was 8:15.
Right.
And shows are 6 and 8:30 each night, so we couldn't obviously do the 8:30. So at 6, we rarely went back to our room after the show because they're over a little after 7. There was usually a trivia or something entertaining to do before we went to dinner.
Right.
So I just didn't want to carry it around all the time. But from my understanding, you could bring a popcorn bucket with you from home, from the Disney parks, and get your $1.50 refills.
Nice.
So this was just a great option to get. And they had alcoholic, non-alcoholic beverages you could purchase there as well for when you want to go into any of the shows. All right, let's talk room service.
Okay.
Because room service is included at $0 extra charge.
Extra charge.
Extra charge. Now, you do need to tip.
Yes, you do.
Please do.
Please.
It was another thing we made sure we had cash.
Yes.
So on us for.
And we got $5 bills because we figured we would not just be ordering like a Mickey bar. We'd be ordering a lot more. So that's what we did. Now, if you're thinking of maybe just doing a Mickey bar or something, I would take and change those 5s into 1s.
Yeah. I mean, tip whatever you want. You know, you don't really have a cost associated to figure out like a 20% or something, but you're going to call right in from your room. They have breakfast available. There will be an in-room breakfast menu that you need to put out by 3 a.m. the night before. Now, room service is only good up until midnight of your last night.
Right.
But it's 24/7 the rest of the time. So we put out one morning before 3 a.m. Obviously, we put out the thing on the front door for the room service for the next day, and we got like some fruit. I think we got some muffins. We got a pot of decaf, a pot of regular coffee, milk, creamer, sugars, all of that, just to enjoy coffee in the morning. A little something to eat on the veranda. Highly recommend you do that. And then for lunch, dinner, and basically any time of night, they had sandwiches, salads, appetizers. You could get burgers, pizza, hot dogs. You can get chef specialties, desserts. So the first night, I ordered chicken tenders and fries.
You did.
And ate
at
them.
like
Again,
11 o'clock at night, guys.
Why wouldn't you?
And a Mickey ice cream bar. And I was eating. I did not want to, but I was eating a Mickey ice cream bar at 11 o'clock at night.
Just like you get in the parks.
Phenomenal.
And it's amazing. And
it really
those
was.
are included.
Those are really amazing.
Also, which was very smart, and I did not think of this myself. I picked this up doing my research. The first evening that you're there, get room service and get the all hands on deck. It is basically like a charcuterie. Now, there's no meats, but it's several cheeses. It is some fruits. It's some crackers. Go ahead and get that and stick it in your little stateroom fridge.
Yeah.
And there were several times that we were in the room, and I just went in and I grabbed a little block of cheese and had it as a snack or ate some grapes. Only thing I would say is take the crackers off of the plate and put them somewhere where they won't stale. Because I left them on the plate and then put them in the fridge, so they were just gross and soggy, basically. But get that, and then you have that snack throughout. The Mickey ice cream bars were great. Another night, I ordered chicken tenders again, and I got a chocolate cake.
Is this the night I went? This is the night I went to bed. I was so tired.
This will take probably 30 to 45 minutes.
Yeah.
But what do you expect, right? Don't even worry. Now, again, if you're sitting there starving at 1 a.m. and you're about to pass out, it's going to take 30, 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Just wait. But that's another reason to have the all hands on deck. And we always had some sort of leftover chicken tender in our stateroom fridge as well. So the
goodness.
Other one, I'm looking on their menu and they had these things that said pizzas and pies. I had never heard of a pied. P-I-D-E.
I'm like, okay.
I can only assume this is something British or Scottish or something. So one of the pies was a lamb and beef pied. And so this pied is like a flaky croissant style dough.
Ooh.
It's almost like a pizza, right? But the edges are basically kind of rolled up. And it's not quite a croissant. It's much more towards like a pastry style, but filled with it in the center. And again, this is almost like a pizza, is ground beef and lamb, seasonings, and then covered in cheese.
Okay, that sounds amazing.
It was unbelievable. It was
Why was I sleeping?
good.
Why
You were asleep.
I was sleeping.
I had leftover that was in the fridge, and I did eat a piece cold at some point in the remainder of the trip, and it was still good. It was.
We should have ordered that again then.
The lamb and beef was that flavoring and seasoning of a shepherd's pie.
Nice.
Which, by the way,
I would have
they
loved
did
that.
have shepherd's pie one day on Cabana's buffet. It was the day that they had the Indian it was Sunday after our Palo brunch. When I went down to get crab legs, I also tried a little bit of the butter chicken, and I tried some of the.
Did you try shepherd's pie?
I did, and they also had some kefta, some beef kefta.
Oh man!
And then I tried a little bite of the shepherd's pie, and it was very well done. It was good for being like on a buffet, but this thing was super good. Try one of these. I really enjoyed the 24-hour room service, and I did it to do it.
Right.
So, and I'm glad I did, so that we could talk about it.
100%.
All right, we've had a lot of good to say. This is where it will start to get, for me at least, a little bit dicey.
Not this one yet for me.
No, not as much, but this will get a little dicey. So we wanted to break this up and again, not just go through, Thursday morning we got on the boat, then we sat down, then we went to this trivia, then we ate, then we went to this trivia, then I looked at the ocean. Then we wanted to break this down so you could consume it better. And honestly, it makes it easier for us to review and tell you about. So let's move on to our first rotational dining of the evening, which was Thursday at Animator's Palette.
Yes.
Where is Animator's Palette available?
So this is on the Magic, the Wonder, the Dream, and the Fantasy. And this is like Pacific Island foods, Asian cooking, and fresh California.
Yeah. Talk about, I guess, and again, you're going to have a table assigned each night.
Yes.
Just, I guess, talk about a little bit about the arrival and dining, because, from the moment you arrive, you are getting sanitized.
Oh, I love this. And going back to Cabanas, I believe if this was not prior, they added all this after COVID. I'm
not sure because we've only cruised on Disney after COVID.
But before you walk into Cabanas, there is a cast member standing out there, and there is a little wash station, and they are asking you to wash, and it seems like everybody does. At one point I heard somebody coming in and they said, I just did. I was, whatever. And I'm like, okay. But when you go into the dinners, you have cast members standing there. And as you walk through, they hand you a sanitizing wipe.
Yeah.
I love this. This is why I can now say, because it has been a solid week since we have been off, praise Jesus, we did not get sick.
It's been 3 days. You just jinxed all of that.
Nuh-uh.
I feel something coming
No,
down.
you don't.
You just jinxed us.
It's been a week.
It's Thursday. We got off the boat on Monday. It's been a week since we got on the boat.
Okay.
Not a week since we got off. Do you remember when that kid coughed directly in your mouth as we were disembarking?
Okay.
That one's going to come back and haunt you. Let me tell you that much. That one's coming back to you.
We're fine. And this is where I am just very grateful for everything that Disney does like this.
I do love it. And to be honest, it's one of those things like, Jason Bateman is known for this, and I only know it from listening to the Smart List podcast, but I totally get it. When he sits down at a meal, he sits down, he gets everything ready, and then he immediately gets up and he goes to the bathroom and washes his hands.
Yeah.
And comes back and sits down. And I get that. Like, not that I think I'm ever showing up to a meal. Like, we just had lunch at Panera. It's not that I walked into Panera like I was just, touching sick children or something, like rubbing a kid sneezing or something. But at the same time, you've just opened a door. I think we've gotten back where that's kind of gone in the back of a lot of people's minds. Like, we're pretty good in the parks. That we'll sanitize or wash our hands before we eat.
Right.
And COVID or anything aside, it's hygienic and it keeps you healthy overall from all the stuff.
Absolutely. COVID just opened our eyes to that
more.
That you should be doing this.
And I love that they're this reminder. And it I don't know, it makes you feel good.
It does.
It does. You just sit down, you're fresh, you're ready to go.
Yep.
What is Animator's Palette? How would you describe this place? Is
it's black and white.
Yeah.
It's super cool.
It's like stepping into
I felt like
it's like stepping into an cartoon, an animator's desk.
Yes.
To his
and
pad of paper.
I wish I would have had a white or black dress. If I had known.
Next time.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was awesome. And just it didn't feel too fancy, but it could feel fancy. I loved all the paintbrushes and the
palette,
all
the art
decorations,
palettes and color palettes above you.
All the art, the drawings, just everything around was amazing.
And there's screens throughout.
Yes.
And as you're sitting there is as though a hand drawing was occurring in front of you.
Yes.
On a pad. And it was a lot of fun because, we have our table of 7 and we're all staring around like, I think that's going to be so-and-so.
Yeah.
Like, 'cause you can't tell right away.
Yep.
So you see a line or two drawn, another one, and you're like, Stitch. And it was almost like a game that we kind of played. And it
was fun.
I know we talked last time about packing a little bit, and this is cruise casual. All these dinners, all the included dinners are cruise casual. And most of the nights, but you wore something maybe like a dress or something. I would wear, either my Tommy Bahama pants. I do own white linen pants, which made several appearances, even though it is still, I think you're only supposed to wear white. It's between Memorial Day and Labor Day.
Something like that.
So I know, but I was on a cruise. I didn't care. But usually I had a button-up shirt. It was cruise casual. It was comfy, but it was a little bit nicer. And yeah, I loved, even down to the menu has hand sketches of, characters on it, like the different stages of Mickey are all over the menu.
Mm-hmm.
The even the text on the menu looks like it was neatly handwritten.
Mm-hmm.
And let's start with beverages. So let's start with drinks. They do have a lot of specialty cocktails, like the Blueberry Alicious.
They have 3.
3, okay. Well, they have the Blueberry Alicious, and you can get anything else. There's a whole wine menu and beer menu they're going to present you with every night.
There is.
There is a wine package that Olivia did, where they will actually have a bottle of wine for you each night, and whatever you do not drink during that evening or during your meal, they can either hold it over for the next night for you, or you can take it back to your stateroom and enjoy. So there's several wine packages you can look at.
Yep.
So the specialty cocktails here, they did have a Blueberry Alicious, which was a tequila-based drink. You went for the Great Reef. What was that?
Yes, and again, just like some of the Disney World, these are already pre-made. And this one is a rum, an elderflower Saint Germain, watermelon puree, and fresh lime juice. And I did ask if they could take and do vodka. And again, this was already pre-made, so they could not. Yeah. I don't mind rum. I love elderflower. And the rest, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to try the rum. Maybe it'll be great. And it was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. I just had the one and enjoyed it very much.
Yes. And of course, these are an extra cost.
Yes,
and
they are.
Will bill you. You will get a bill if you order any of these at the end. In addition, now your non-alcoholic beverages are included. Sodas and teas, coffee, things like that. They do have, which I got was the non-alcoholic Bora Shake. This is pina colada. It includes fresh bananas and Blue Ocean. I don't know exactly what Blue Ocean is.
I think that's the bottle of champagne that I got.
That you got me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So
I think Blue Ocean is the brand. Maybe?
Okay. We'll have to look because we still have to open that.
Yes.
When
I say champagne, obviously this is the non-alcoholic. Yeah. And earlier, as we were talking with Jeremy's wine, it is still non-alcoholic.
Yeah. This was delicious. It was good. It's just, it's a pina colada with fresh
feel like you
bananas.
Should be drinking it on a beach.
100%. 100%.
You were on a boat.
And it's another one of those that if somebody just sat it down in front of you as an adult, you would not know if it was alcoholic, non-alcoholic. It was just delicious. I really, really enjoyed it.
Nice.
So you, with the dinners, you can eat as much as you want.
Mm-hmm.
You can order as much as you want. Anything off the menu. You can order something. You can order something else after you're done eating that something. You can order something, have a few bites, and decide maybe it's not for you and you can get whatever the heck you want.
You can get the whole menu.
You can get the whole menu.
So I'm going to go ahead and right now after, like you said, you've been thinking, I've been thinking.
Okay. What have you been
And I
thinking?
am going to interject what I've been thinking this whole time, because you can order the entire menu,
Mhm.
because you can order whatever you want, which is kind of sad, because like if you don't eat much and you throw it away,
Yeah.
it's just sad to me.
And we're not saying order the entire menu. Please don't be
Please
wasteful.
don't.
And I understand you want to
Yes.
try stuff. It's another great reason to cruise with a group,
Yes.
I will say.
Yes.
Yeah.
But my thought is if you're able and allowed to order the entire menu, and then they know that things are going to be thrown away, why would I, as a chef, waste my time on making something so good?
Disagree 100%.
Okay. I think what
Personally.
they should do is limit you to what you're allowed to order.
Agree. I'd rather that.
And then they would focus on making it so good.
No, I can agree with that.
So,
but I
that's
don't
my
think
thought.
But I don't think because you're offering more and allowing people to get what they want that you allow a decline in quality. I still think that every dish should be prepared as though because it technically is still a standard restaurant. Nothing is being, it's not prefixed in the sense of here's your appetizer, your entree, and your dessert, and this is what you get. It is still a menu that if you were paying, it's really no different than you paying individual prices for it. The only difference is you've prepaid for it.
All right.
There's no other difference. But what came out to me was the feel of a pre-made, as though you were eating off a buffet, but you just chose the individual items and didn't see it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And it's broken down. It's broken down into cocktails, appetizers, soups and salads, entrees, and desserts.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's always going to be a bread service each night as well. Now for us, for the most part, we really focused on saying, let's get one appetizer each.
Yep.
One super salad each, one entree each, and one dessert. So a 4-course meal.
Yes.
Now, when we talk about it, you'll see that I veered off that path a little bit to try some other things
Right.
and experience some other things. But we tried to stick to that. It wasn't sitting down every night going, I'll take all 4 appetizers that you got and I'll take both salads.
Right.
Give me a couple soups, 4 like we weren't doing that.
Right.
So in this one, for example, when you look at the appetizers, you have like a smoked salmon tartare. Another thing I'll preface is we will probably talk or mention where it's warranted about the food that Chuck, Amy, Olivia, Maddie, and Riley had, but we're not going to cover their meals.
Right.
If you want to know Chuck and Amy's experience, if you would, and I will say that they're, as always, the gluten-friendly stuff, they go out of their way to provide.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They bend over backwards. As we know they do in the parks, they're doing the same thing on the cruise ship. I do know that overall, Chuck and Amy felt some of my sentiment that overall, overarching umbrella was not exactly where they had hoped things to be. Not saying that everything was bad, not saying that everything was good. Things were hit, things were missed. Some things were great, some things were not. If you would like to know their opinions of any of them, come into the Main Street Magic Facebook community and you can ask, and I know they will share, or I will give you their personal cell phones for you to call them anytime, day or night. And no, kidding. But if you do want their experience, I know they will be happy to share with you. We are talking from our experience, and some of that will bleed over into what they experienced as well. So for appetizers here at Animator's Palette, for example, there's a smoked salmon tartare. There's a black truffle pasta. I ordered the sliced Serrano ham, which came with manchego cheese and an olive tapenade. And that olive tapenade was very ground up and on a small piece of bread. Rhonda's laughing. Rhonda got the tomato tart with glazed goat cheese and shaved radish. I will start.
Okay.
Bread is going to be brought to your table each night.
Yeah, you already said that.
If there is any reason that you're upset with someone during your meal and you are okay with potentially being charged with assault, any of these pieces of bread would make a viable weapon.
Jeremy!
Because every last one on the outside was hard as a rock. I'm not saying I expect like a full bakery on the ship that they're baking this fresh bread, but this was every last piece of bread tasted like day old. Like you go to Publix at night when they're closing and the bakery will hand you bags of bread that are from that day that they can't sell the next day. I think it's somebody's job on the Disney Cruise Line to wait outside of Publix and gather them all to bring on the ship.
Okay.
And the bread got continually worse as we went on. It was not good at all. Like when I would go to try and take like a small dinner roll and just rip it in half so that I could spread butter on a side, it just crumbled into nothingness.
Yeah.
So the bread was awful.
Okay.
With that being said, this was fine because there's no way you could mess it up. It was sliced Serrano ham. It was delicious, tasted fresh, and it was manchego cheese. There was a small piece of crusty bread that was smeared in this olive tapenade. And I knew what it was. I tasted it knowing it was olive tapenade. It wasn't a surprise to me.
Okay.
I thought, let me give it a try because it wasn't chunks of olive. It was very broken up.
Did you
like
it?
You did try it, though.
I did.
No, I did not. It still had that major olive flavor
yes, it
that
did.
I don't care for.
That's why I was laughing.
What did you think?
I was fine. I loved mine, though. I absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so the glazed goat cheese, the shaved radish.
Oh my goodness.
Nice flaky, like pastry
See,
crust.
I don't think I thought that was a radish. I thought it was like some type of onion, but it was very
it was radish.
thin.
It was thin
It was
shaved
fantastic.
Radish. Yeah. I thought it was
Riley
delicious.
actually tasted it too and said it was good.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you can order it.
Yeah.
But
and they're so funny.
She was.
I love those kids. They're
I do
amazing.
too.
And they would get they most nights they got pasta.
They got
marinara,
the kids'
plate that is shaped
so
like
cute.
Mickey. So in Mickey's face hole, it would be pasta and marinara. And then in one ear would be like some steamed like broccoli and like carrots and cauliflower. And then in another, I can't remember, was it usually like fruit or maybe a small salad or something?
I don't know.
Or French fries or something. It was
because Ari would put a Mickey shaped little
the ketchup every
thank
day
you.
on it.
Ketchup. Yep.
Yeah. It was great. But just the willingness to do that was awesome. I thought the tomato tart was very good. This was one of the dishes that I thought was done.
I think this will be, I'll go ahead and I think I'll spoiler alert. I think this was my favorite meal and the best meal.
Overall, the entire meal as a whole. Yeah. I think I actually would probably agree with you. If we move on to the soup and salad section, they do have a salad of arugula leaves with some red beets, orange, marinated white beans, and mustard dressing. They had a chicken and walnut salad with dried cranberries, red onions, and a cranberry dressing. You opted for one of the soups, which was the creamy butternut squash soup.
Yes.
Garnished with chives and drizzled with sour cream.
Mm-hmm.
How did you like this?
It was very squashy.
Very squashy.
But I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I would agree.
It didn't taste.
This isn't Boma's.
No, and it did not taste butternut squash like.
Yeah.
And maybe if it did, I was feeling like it tasted more just regular squash, but it was orange.
Yeah.
I really, really liked it. In fact, again, this is where it's hard because of what I'm gonna get for dinner. I'm like, I want to keep eating, but I don't.
Mm-hmm.
So I did. I really liked it. I tasted Riley. She did get the, Maddie was sitting next to me. Maddie got the baked potato and cheddar cheese soup. I tasted it. You want to talk about yours?
Yeah, well, going to yours, when I say like yours was not Boma, I only say that because it didn't have those African inspired flavors. But I do agree. It was a good soup. It still tasted like fall. And I thought it was pretty well composed.
I liked it.
I had the baked potato and cheddar cheese soup with bacon bits and chives. Mm-hmm. This was gross. It wasn't good.
So did Maddie. And
it was bad.
I tasted it and I was like, oh, that doesn't even to me taste like baked potato.
The consistency, like you want like maybe some chunks of potato. You want the cheese, everything. It was just this bland, dry. I don't even know how do you make soup dry? They found a way to do it. Like, kudos to you for drying out soup. And it didn't even have strong potato flavor. It didn't.
No, it didn't.
I would have liked cheese sprinkled on top, like some chunks of bacon. It was that they took everything that was supposed to be composed in this soup. First of all, I know I saw salt and pepper on this cruise. I don't know
it was
why
on our table.
They didn't use it in the preparation of a single dish. It was zero seasoning. It was like they took potatoes, they took cheese, they took bacon, they put them in a blender with probably like skim milk because it didn't even have flavor to it, and just blended it and pulverized it. If that's not painting a picture, I don't know what. We're at Animator's Palette, so I'm trying to paint you a picture. And this did not paint a very good picture. This was like a finger painting by a 3-year-old. That's how I would describe this
Okay.
soup. Not good.
Okay.
Do not recommend. Now, no, I know I was knocking very much their bread. There were some that had a focaccia, and they had the same focaccia on the Cabanas buffet line. That was really good. It was like a 2 to 3 inch thick, light, airy focaccia. Some of them had like some onion baked in. Some had herbs. Some was just plain. The focaccia was actually delicious.
Okay.
Super soft, delicious in flavor. So I will say that. Let's move on to our main courses. They have a panette bolognese, which comes with a bolognese sauce, Parmigiano Reggiano, toasted garlic ciabatta. They are offering paired wines with each of these dishes, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
If you're, a wine drinker and want to do that. They had a lemon thyme marinated all natural chicken breast. This came with sour cream mashed potatoes, roasted root vegetables. They had an herb crusted pork chop that came with Dijon mustard encrusted with herb breadcrumbs, served with a sun-dried tomato risotto and a wine sauce. You opted for the grilled tuna steak.
Yes.
Which included fingerling confit, which would be potatoes, sun-dried tomato pesto, and an aioli. What did you think of the tuna steak?
It was outstanding.
This was very good.
So
good. Very, very good.
It was raw in the center. It was a nice, just a little bit, how do you say it?
You had a slight sear with crust on the outside.
It just broke apart. It was fantastic.
This was good.
This was outstanding. Like, anytime I'm at Disney and I'm like, all right, grilled tuna steak. I'm like, okay, well, it's Disney, so it's going to be good. Yeah. Holy moly, this was absolutely outstanding. And the tomato pesto with aioli, like first of all, the tuna steak by itself was actually really good.
Yeah.
Fresh, really good, clean. But then you put the other stuff together all with it. This was an amazing dish for me.
This might have been the best singular dish, I think, that we had on the cruise. Or that, you had and I got to taste.
Of course.
I think this was done very, very well. I went with the ginger teriyaki dusted Angus beef tenderloin. This came with wasabi mashed potatoes, bok choy, and a barbecue reduction. Please don't put wasabi in mashed potatoes.
I thought it was fantastic. And then, that's right, I remember now, I actually was taking your mashed potatoes and eating with my grilled tuna.
I thought it paired,
and it was phenomenal.
I don't love wasabi to begin with.
I do.
But
and
this was
great.
Heavy.
It was.
On the wasabi.
It really was.
Very heavy. But I thought it paired much better with the tuna steak than the beef. Looking back, and I just didn't think of it, and this is something I wish that I would have asked, is what are substitutions available? Like could I have subbed the sour cream mashed potatoes for my wasabi mashed potatoes? Could I have subbed the risotto, the sun-dried tomato risotto with mine? I'm hoping so, but I'm not 100% sure. The bok choy, to me it was the parts of the bok choy that you would have thrown in the garbage after you cut it up. It wasn't to me like the good part of the bok choy, and that was steamed properly. The steak, which I got medium rare, was cooked to perfection.
Oh, good.
It did have a nice crust on the outside.
Oh, yeah, I tasted it.
But there was good. Zero seasoning to it.
Oh, yeah.
So after a bite or two, I grabbed the salt and pepper from the table and put it on it, and it made it a pretty dang good steak.
Good.
It was much, much better.
Good.
Again, it's one of those, I think it just missed the mark on some things. And for me personally, I do not like wasabi mashed potatoes.
It was so
and they
funny.
were green.
Wait, I remember now. You took a bite and you pushed them away and you're like, oh no. Yeah. And I was like, what? And then I tasted it and I'm like, oh my God, those are really good. But you have to love wasabi.
You absolutely have to love wasabi.
And I do.
I do not. and now it's even, more so after doing it this way. They're going to have a wonderful slew of some other options such as vegetarian. So they have a black bean chipotle cakes. They have sesame halloumi parcels. They have a jumbo shrimp salad offered on the lighter note side. You could get a grilled grain-fed sirloin steak. You could get slow roasted breast of chicken, an oven baked filet of salmon. So it was nice to see these vegetarian and lighter offerings that were available as well. And of course, if you wanted, you could have gone for an Angus beef tenderloin like I did, and then gotten a jumbo shrimp salad to go with it if you wanted. Right. And I kind of did something similar when we get to Cinderella's Royal Table, which was heavy on the meat.
Royal Table.
Rapunzel's Royal Table
is in Magic Kingdom.
Yes.
We were on the Magic cruise ship.
We were on the Magic cruise ship. They are going to have offerings of adventurous after teenies, such as Rhonda's favorite. Well, they had an espresso martini.
My goodness.
But they also had a creme brulee martini.
Yes. And at night like this, the espresso martini, I'm like, I can't. I think I'll be up all night. So they did have a creme brulee martini. This is Grey Goose, Bailey's Irish Cream, amaretto, caramel syrup, and half and half. Holy moly. This thing was fantastic.
It
was outstanding. I let Amy taste it. I think she actually was going to get it the next night or something.
Yeah, she got it the next night because you got it 2 nights in a row, didn't you? Or you got it?
I got it 2 nights in a row. Yeah. I would have gotten it every single night, but it was just, it was great. It was fantastic.
And of course, this is an additional cost.
Yes, it is.
Along with that, there's additional cost. There's espressos, cappuccinos. They have a caramel pecan chai, a tiramisu, mocha latte. They also have a selection of like rum chata, Bailey, Sambuca. You can get Hennessy, Cavassier, Remy Martin, Knob Creeks, Tawny Ports, all of these at an extra cost as well if you would like. I got a plain cup. I'm apparently a grandfather now, or my grandmother. I will never forget as a kid growing up, after every Thanksgiving meal, when we would go to Durham, North Carolina with my mom's side of the family, they would make a pot of coffee after every meal. And the adults, not my dad, he never drank coffee, but my mom, my aunt, my grandma, they would all have a cup of coffee after dinner. And I thought it was the oddest thing. I am now that person. Because each night I had a cup of decaf with some cream and some sweet and low after dinner with my dessert. It's kind of life-changing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, even if I drank caffeine, I probably would have done decaf. Just, not because you're having this now at 9:30 at night.
Yes.
We weren't finishing up most of our meals till between 9:30 and 10 p.m.
Correct.
As much as I love the 8:15, the second seating, I would opt for the earlier one in the future. I felt a lot that, well, I guess you would just trade off then with the show. The thing is, between about 5 to 5:30 and 10 p.m., you are going to be occupied with dinner and show each night. And it does take a big chunk. I felt that after dinner, but now that I'm thinking about it, would have been the same thing if we went to the 8:30 show. You feel like you run out of time really, really quick when it's all of a sudden 10 o'clock in the evening and there's still stuff you want to see and do, like entertainment wise. You know what I mean? But I guess it really doesn't matter now that I'm saying it out loud. So maybe I would still opt for that second seating regardless. Because then I can just fill myself with pizza in the times that I'm not sitting there.
Yeah.
For desserts, they had a crunchy walnut cake. They've got like apple crumble rice pudding, lemon icebox pie. We got a couple.
That was
things.
their signature dessert.
That was their signature dessert. You went with the cookies and cream sundae, which was recommended.
Yes.
What was this?
It was super cute in a sundae cup, and I think a whole cookie was in there.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, it was fantastic. It was ice cream, it was chocolate sauce, cookie, and whipped cream, and I mean, I love me some cookies and cream, like Oreos, and this was fantastic. I mean, I ate most of it.
I mean, it's one of those things you go, okay, it's cookies and cream, ice cream, and it's got chocolate sauce, chocolate chip cookies, some whip, whatever. Like, how do you mess that up, right? But I also don't understand how you make it this delicious. Like,
I know.
I felt like this came out of Beaches and Cream.
It was fantastic. Yes,
like, this was the
great.
highest quality of everything they could offer in this beautiful sundae that just every flavor worked together so well. Like, as much as I had some issues with some of the food, I swear there's somebody back there hand whipping this cream, like, and adding the sugar into it to give it that extra pot. Like, it was so good.
Yeah, it was.
I went ahead and got the chocolate fudge cheesecake, which was creamy vanilla cheesecake with a chocolate fudge base. It was a great cheesecake.
It was.
And then I went with the deconstructed carrot cake, which was a no sugar added dessert, a classic carrot cake with a twist.
Did you like it?
Yeah, my only recommendation for this would be add sugar. It was what I was missing, the sugar. It had the flavors of a carrot cake, but it really was missing. It was really missing the sweetness from a really good cream cheese icing. But it's a no sugar added. And I understand people will need that, and for what it was good. I did enjoy it.
Good.
I would have loved a full sugar carrot cake though. I think would have been outstanding.
That's funny.
So overall impression of Animator's Palette.
I loved it. And the show
talk about the show
was
to finish it out.
Incredible.
So
we're
cool.
sitting there and first of all, like Jeremy said earlier, we were trying to guess. Well, more things started happening as they drew. Then all of a sudden they kind of came to life and was moving. And I'm like, oh, look at that. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, it all started and a show started basically. And my band was lighting up and vibrating, which I love personally.
That was super cool. I did not expect that. Yeah.
Super cool.
Disney Band Plus, or if you were wearing your Magic Band, was going to light up and vibrate and all.
It was amazing.
Cool.
And yeah, it just starts this animation show of like, I'm getting chills just like thinking about it. And then Mickey comes out in his Fantasia outfit. And oh God, Amy and I are basically trying to hold back tears. Yeah. And talk about magical.
It was so cool.
It was. This was the perfect end. Like, it was just, it was a great day. We had a great day. We had a great dinner. We were with great friends. And, and this was just, right. I was with my amazing husband, and I just,
it was super.
It was
cool.
amazing.
Yeah, each of the screen. And what's so great is it's not interrupting your meal. No, this is waiting until the end when people are finishing up their desserts. Yep. When the old people are finishing up their decaf coffee. And it's like even in a tiny cup on a saucer. Like it just, I don't know who I am anymore. But yeah, each of the animations that starts to show, it goes through montages along with the room lighting.
Yeah.
Of going, of all the lights you could think of colors and all. And it is montages of heroes and villains. Mm-hmm. And you actually get to, although they did Ray dirty. There's one entire montage of all these Disney characters that are dying, and then brought back to life. Like, I'm thinking of Flynn Rider, it shows him dying, and then Rapunzel's tear, bringing him back to life. We get everybody brought back to life. And then where's Ray? Nope.
Ray, it showed Ray dying.
It showed Ray dying. I never saw his star in the sky. They missed that part of the montage. I was hurt, but no, it was incredible. And when Mickey comes out,
and then it was crazy.
All of the servers line up with Mickey, following him around as he walks through. It was so cool.
It was awesome.
Going back, or maybe we should cover this at the end. We'll cover at the end what we would like, what our perfect rotational dining order would be. Let's save that for the end. Don't let me forget. Let's put a pin in it, because I'll forget.
Okay.
All right. Let's move on to the next evening. Was going to be our double dining, our Friday and Saturday.
Right.
We skipped Saturday.
Because it was also pirate night.
Yes.
And
Saturday
to be honest,
night.
I was super happy that we missed it. Sitting down for dinner, because we had so much other fun doing other things. Like, it was just great. So Rapunzel's Royal Table.
Yeah, talk about Rapunzel's Royal Table.
Again, this is just on the Magic, and it is classic American favorites, fresh food flavors from around the globe.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's kind of that combination. You're going to see, as we talk about the menu, some like German influences. Mm-hmm. And of course, we're talking about Rapunzel. Let's talk about the food first, and then we can talk about the show that occurs throughout the dinner, because this is dinner and a show, in the sense of a show is happening continuously.
Correct.
As you are dining.
Yes. So, let me also start with the second preface. Well,
It's a word
maybe
I like to use.
With the second dining, the menu, when they handed it to you, like you said on the other one, but at Animator's Palette, right before you open it, and this is the nice thick menu, it had Mickey and you moved it and he danced.
Yeah.
Like animation.
Yeah.
It was super cool.
I'll tell you, if you could buy these menus, like I would purchase these menus as like a memorabilia. The menus they're all designed in such a wonderful way.
Well, I mean, I don't know if I'd purchase them, but yeah, I will again go to the Rapunzel. It was beautiful. I loved all the lanterns everywhere. And apparently Pascal was in there that Rapunzel told us about. And I did not get to see him.
Lanterns are hanging from the ceiling throughout this
Yes.
entire area.
Yes. It was amazing.
Oh.
Yes. So again, especially cocktails, they have 3, usually the same. And I looked it over and they had one that is the Smolder. This is Bellini, Limoncello, Pineapple Cotton Candy, and Saint Germain. And it was super cool because there was also one that Jeremy could get, a non-alcoholic that came with the cotton candy too. So it was super cool.
And it mirrored the color and the look of yours exactly.
It did. Because I was like, and then mine did not taste like alcohol at all. Which
you said yours
weird.
could get you in trouble, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's in there.
So when it came in this cute little shaker. So I'm assuming everything was already mixed and everything in there. The cotton candy was there, and then he poured it over top of the cotton candy, and then I drank it, and it just was fantastic. I can't say what stood out more. It was just a fantastic, could get you in trouble drink.
Yeah.
I think because the pineapple and then the limoncello, so it was a little citrusy. That's the best way I'll explain it. But it was really good.
Yeah. And I know we didn't really say this before because the prices aren't printed always on the menus, but for the extra stuff like these specialty non-alcoholic beverages and the specialty cocktails, they were running non-alcoholic usually between about $6 and $8, and then the alcoholic were running probably roughly 11 to 13. So slightly less, I feel like, than Disney World in park and dining prices, but fairly close. So again, just something to think about budget-wise if you think you want to have a cocktail or a specialty non-alcoholic each night. I went with Rapunzel's Tower Tea, which is jasmine, white tea, orange passion, and raspberry.
With that same pineapple cotton candy.
Yeah, the cotton candy came on the side, and then I just dipped it in there and it dissolved right into the drink. And then you could get them with a light up Pascal.
Oh, yeah.
And so Julius, who was our beverage server, would take drinks every night and, of course, helping out with whatever else he can. When he gave me my drink, he came back around and I was like, do I get a Pascal? Like I wanted one, because he's probably thinking, here's a grown man. So he's like, yeah, how many would you like? Because they are $5 each. They are an add-on cost. And we had Riley and Maddie with us, and we're like, let's get 3.
Yep.
So he brought back 3 light up Pascals. We gave each of them one, and then I kept one for myself.
Well,
and
of
I lit
course.
it up and I put it on my drink.
The girls loved it.
Yeah, they were wearing them on like their shoulders or like, on their like little lapel area. This was delicious. It was so good, and it looked just like your drink.
Yes.
I mean, the colors, it was like kind of a pinkish hue with some orange. I don't know. It was, and it was super flavorful.
Yep.
Not over. I know I keep talking about like sugars, and a lot of these non-alcoholic cocktails can just be loaded with nothing but sugar and juice. And this wasn't. It was it was nice. It was light. It was refreshing. This is one I would love to find a way to like recreate at home. And sit by the pool with.
Yeah.
I think it would be so good that way. So their bread service will come out, and it is some of the garbage bread that we've already been served. And then there is going to be some pretzel breads.
Yeah.
Again, there is no salt to be found anywhere in the kitchen because there's no salt on the pretzels. But they were okay. They weren't warm.
No, they weren't.
But they tasted like good pretzel bread, just missing that salt. And then they'll come with the whole grain mustard dip if that's something you like to partake in, which I do not.
No.
But I did eat them. I did eat a pretzel.
I think Riley liked it.
But... Yeah, I think so. For the appetizers, now they do have a Snuggly Duckling platter. They have a ravioli Tiroli, which is filled with pulled beef and portobello mushrooms. And then the charcuterie is pumpernickel and some German mustard along with these things. So I went with the crispy Arendelle shrimp with pea puree, fried potato, pancetta, and pea shoots, served with a lemon tarragon caper mayonnaise. This was one giant fried shrimp.
Oh,
Lightly
yeah,
fried
that's
shrimp,
right.
and it was super good. It was really, really good.
Yeah.
I would love to say, or I'd like to say, I wish there were more shrimp.
Yeah.
But there's so much food going on, I didn't need it.
I mean,
but I could have eaten a whole
technically,
bowl
couldn't
of these.
you have ordered
Sure.
a couple
You
more?
could have ordered more if you wanted, but
Yeah.
it was great. It was a nice, lightly fried shrimp, and I really enjoyed it. So, I mean, this was like a knife and fork shrimp. It was that
Yeah.
big. You could have used a knife and fork for it.
I think you gave me the tail end,
Yeah, I did some of that,
but it was good.
But they
It
still
was
had
really
meat in
good.
it.
Yeah.
You went with the ahi tuna tartare with basil, cucumber, mango, wasabi, sesame wonton crisp, and a sweet chili mayonnaise. What did you think of this?
It was good.
Yeah.
It was really good because it is tartare, so it was not cooked.
Mhm.
I think my brain kind of started to mess with me, and I didn't eat much of it after. Like, I took a few bites, and I was like, "Is good." But then the wonton crisp, unfortunately, was stale. Very stale.
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a little
But-
bite of this. It was nice and fresh.
Yeah.
It's like it's like a tuna stack.
Yep.
So I thought it was good.
I
was
ate some
light.
of it, but then I was like,
Yeah.
"Let me move on."
Move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
So they do have some salads. They have the Maximus salad with cucumber, potato salad, and carrot salad topped with baby oak leaf. And then they have a romaine wedge and hot smoked salmon salad. Both of these sound disgusting.
You didn't get
I
any?
think. No, I did not get these. But we did move on to From the Kettle, which would be their soups. Now they have a potato cream soup with carrots, leeks, celery, and knotwurst in it. That was much better. This is what I thought the potato soup from the night before should have been. So this was
Yes.
better.
Yes, I agree.
It had a little bit more of like chunks of potato in it.
It did.
It had some of that leeks and celery. So I liked this one a lot better than I liked the night before. It's not something that I'm like, dreaming about or I like want again, but it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
You got the green asparagus and broccoli soup with buttered croutons.
I did.
Very green.
It was.
Very,
and it
very
was
green.
really good.
You loved it.
I really did.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. It was green. It tasted, I guess it tasted like broccoli and asparagus, but it was just really good and creamy and really good.
Good.
So
Good, I'm glad.
I liked it.
Good.
Did you taste it?
Yeah, I didn't love it. It's just kind of green
but
soup.
I like my vegetables.
Yeah, this is true. Let's move on to the main course that they have. So you've got a pan-seared sea bass fillet. You have Oktoberfest lemon and thyme roasted chicken. That actually sounds pretty good. Captain of the Guards roasted prime rib of beef. So you can get some prime rib beef. We opted for, let's start with yours, the tangled pasta.
Yeah.
So this was, actually, you know what? Let's start with mine.
Okay.
Let's start with the Flynn Rider platter.
Okay.
Okay, this is grilled smoked pork loin served with roasted smoked pork belly, bockwurst, braised red cabbage, a fried potato dumpling, and a spot burger wine Jew. You know
Okay.
what that is. This was a giant place of one note meat.
Okay.
Everything kind of tasted the same. The grilled smoked, like, pick one. Are you grilled or are you smoked? Because I didn't think it was either. Pork loin was overdone. Everything just tasted the same. And as good as a fried potato dumpling sounds, it just wasn't. It was just like, even looking at it, everything was the same. It was just brown. It was just a lot of brown meats. And it wasn't bad. It just, again, there were no discernible flavors between the pork loin and the pork belly. And I don't know. It just didn't do it for me. I wish instead this had been a really well done pork tenderloin with, maybe like a parsnip puree or something and some sort of fresh veggie. It wasn't the best. It was just, again, one note is probably the way that I would describe it.
Okay.
So I did get something else with it as well, but let's talk about your tangled pasta. What was that?
So this is angel hair pasta tossed in a basil pesto with caramelized sea scallops. roasted vine tomatoes and a sun-dried tomato tapenade served over a roasted Meyer lemon. And I wanted this because I wanted the angel hair pasta in the basil pesto.
Yeah.
I took the sea scallops and I moved them to your plate.
There were a ton of scallops.
Yes. So you got surf and turf.
I did. I got surf and turf.
So what do you think of the
Were
scallops?
outstanding.
Really?
They were good. I praise Disney and their scallops all the time. They continued it on the cruise ship. They were nice. They were big. They were meaty. They had the sear crust on the outside. They were cooked right on the inside. I probably have a photo. There were at least 6
I think
scallops.
there was 6.
There might have been 8, but there were definitely 6
Yeah.
good-sized scallops, and they were like a real saving grace for my meal because I ate every last one of them, and I really did enjoy them.
Good.
How was the pasta?
I
How was
loved
the
it.
pesto? You loved it? 'Cause I don't think I
loved it.
tried yours. Good.
Probably because even Ari laughed at me
Yeah.
because I ate it so quick. And I don't know if this was the night that I really wasn't starving, and I can't remember. And he just was like, "Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
do you want more pasta?"
As I said, I was like, to be fair, I ate all the scallops
Yeah.
out of it.
And I said no, but the angel hair pasta I thought was fantastic.
Yeah, good.
So.
I'm glad. Yeah. So under the lighter note offerings, and I did order this at the same time as the platter because I saw him just getting a big plate of meat, and I wanted something to go with it that was lighter, was the lobster salad. So this was green and white asparagus spears, radish green onions, cucumber, avocado, spinach, and then arugula tossed in a citrus parsley dressing. And it was a whole lobster tail cooked, probably poached and thin sliced, laid out on top of it. The lobster was cooked right. It had a good lobster flavor to it. The salad part and the dressing was all good. It was light. It was very heavy on like the salad and the greens. There were a lot of them. There wasn't quite as much of like the radish green onions and the cucumber and the avocado, but this was a nice, light, well-composed dish that I think could definitely be a really good light offering meal. Of course, you could always use more lobster, but I pretty much ate all the lobster, and then I ate a little bit of the greens with some of the dressing.
Nice.
But I did enjoy it, and it was a good balance to this meat-heavy plate that I had gotten as my kind of my main meal. This didn't. Again, if you want something light, it ate like a meal, but otherwise, it felt like a introductory salad. It's like your appetizer, towards your meal because you're getting this big thing of meat, I guess. If we move on, they do have some vegetarian items, such as a spinach, zucchini, eggplant, and ricotta-filled potato crepe.
I was gonna get that,
Yeah,
but I didn't.
that sounds pretty good. Sounds interesting.
It does.
Then they have a chili spice tofu ramen. Of course, on the lighter side, in addition to that lobster salad, they have grilled grain-fed sirloin steak, a slow-roasted breast of chicken, and an oven-baked filet of salmon. All offerings that are very similar to Animator's palette the night before. So if you are looking for the lighter offerings, whether it's just diet or certain things you can or cannot eat, they're going to be similar, I think, across the board on most of these. They do have some of the specialty drinks afterwards, like the espressos. They have the espresso martini, the creme brulee martini. You got another one of those.
So good.
Same thing of your liqueurs and liquors. And then for dessert, there is a birthday cupcake sundae. For their no sugar added, they have a lemon raspberry mousse. What all did we get? Because you went straight for the creme brulee cheesecake.
Absolutely.
Along with your creme brulee martini.
Yes.
You're a creme brulee junkie.
Mm-hmm.
How was it?
It was really good.
Good.
It's layer of baked cheesecake with caramelized creme brulee served with fresh whipped cream. It was really good. Cheesecake and creme brulee all rolled into one.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did too. I mean, with, talking about the apps and the soups and the entrees, I know they haven't been 100% favorable, but I don't think I end up having a bad thing to say about any of the desserts that we ended up having.
Yeah.
I did the Gothel Black Forest Tower, which was rich chocolate cream, cherry compote, and a chocolate cake tower.
Mm-hmm.
This was rich. It was chocolate-y. It was chocolat. Yeah, I thought it was great.
Yep.
And then they had a Rapunzel's fry pan sweetbread.
Yes.
So this was fry bread dusted with powdered sugar, a chocolate hazelnut sauce, and it was served in this adorable little like frying pan.
Yep.
I loved it. It was kind of like a pull apart monkey bread cinnamon roll.
Yeah, it was
I
good.
thought it was very, very good.
Yep.
Like desserts across the board, they were doing just such I think, an excellent job of.
Right.
Talk about, I know he said the lanterns are throughout, but talk some about the atmosphere and then the continual show that is going on throughout.
So when you first walk into Rapunzel's, not only is it really cool and you see the lanterns, it's kind of like a forest. And you have...
and let's say, I'll say real quick because we didn't mention it, sorry. We are celebrating Rapunzel's birthday and her return to the kingdom, which of course were the same day. When,
Right.
Flynn took her to see the floating lanterns. On her birthday, she realized she was the lost princess. So this is celebrating the 1-year anniversary of her returning to the kingdom and, of course, of her birthday, which would now technically be her 17th birthday.
Yes. And so they were both there. But when you first walked in, you had, and I'm going to get their names wrong, but you had the one that had the hook of his hand.
You have Hook Hand and Attila.
Yes.
Attila's cupcakes are divine.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm
big
like,
bucket.
Thank you.
Has the big metal bucket
Yes.
on his head with kind of the slits cut for eyes.
Yes.
Yes. So Hook Hand, there's going to be 2 musicians that are playing music on stage because there is a central stage, and then Hook Hand and Attila.
But they're standing there.
Run the thing.
Right.
Yeah.
But they're standing there when you walk into dinner.
Yeah.
And then, yes, like Jeremy said, you have the musicians just kind of playing. And then once kind of everybody gets in and seated, then they start doing some show stuff and coming around and hanging out. And then, Rapunzel and Flynn come. And through this whole thing, they are doing birthday stuff and singing. And then Rapunzel comes around. Flynn comes around.
Hook Hand
comes around.
We're lucky enough to now be considered friends of Hook Hand. We now know Hook Hand.
Yes.
Very, very good guy, even though he has a hook for a hand.
Yes.
Very nice person.
Very, very nice.
He knows Rhonda.
Yeah. So apparently his thing is to, I don't want to say scare people, but
startle.
he just
startle.
Sits there and like if you don't realize that somebody's next to you and all of a sudden you turn and you might kind of freak out a little bit. He says once a night when we talked with him outside, once a night he gets somebody that he knows he can come back around to and do it. And he said that one was you.
As in you.
As in me.
As in Rhonda.
And I'm like,
Oh, it was hilarious.
We did not get it on video, but he scared the crap out of me twice. Like,
he came and almost sat his head on your shoulder while your head was turned talking with Riley and Maddie. And I alerted you, and as you turned your head, he goes, hello. And you jumped out of your skin.
Yeah.
We were dying.
Everybody was.
Then he came back and did it again. And then the rest of the evening, you were looking around like, where is he? Is he on that side? I see him over there.
Yeah.
Is he not coming back? He's not coming back, is he? It was hilarious. Rapunzel comes around and we'll meet and chat and get photos. Flynn came around. He gave the girls his smolder. Riley was dying.
Yeah, it was very funny. She was like, I think she reminded me of Kaylin a lot where she was like, is this secondhand embarrassment? Like she's just like, oh my God, I don't know.
Blushing, but it was so, it was funny. And in the end, they encourage everyone up with your servers to like basically form a conga line and you're walking throughout all of it, and there's music playing and there's dancing and clapping. Ari told us, he's like, if you do not get up, I'm not bringing you dessert. So we all got up and walked all throughout. It was such it
was fun,
wonderful experience, and again, any issues with food aside is really overlooked by how much fun you're having. It really, really is. And I loved it. We decided not to go back the second night because there wasn't going to be anything new to offer as far as the show goes. And there were some other things that we wanted to
was a different
see and do.
Menu though, correct?
Yes, they did change the menu the second night, which we were unaware of. So a lot of our thought was we don't need to go back.
Right.
Because, the food that we had, like I wasn't clamoring for anything that else was on the menu, but I was unaware that it had another menu.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what was amazing is one of the things on that menu was some crab cakes. And Liv and the girls went.
Mm-hmm.
Olivia and Maddie and Riley went. And we were texting them, and she had said, Ari, our server, because Amy had already put in her meal.
Yes.
And so they were going to prepare it. And he said, he could have it delivered to their room,
Mm-hmm.
which, come on.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I joked. I honestly was joking when I texted Olivia and said, see if he can send some crab cakes to my room.
Yeah.
And sure enough, he did.
Yep, two
so
of them.
So that when we came back later, there were 2 crab cakes in the room, plated with the dome over top to keep them, slightly warm. I mean, it was after and they weren't anymore. It was not the crab cake that this Maryland boy is going to love.
No.
But it was a well done, I would say more of a seafood
fried
cake. Seafood cake. And I actually ate it. I ate it cold. I stood there in the room and just ate it with my bare hands. And it was not bad. I could imagine that having it at the actual meal as a hot dish brought out being very enjoyable. Again,
nice.
Not a Maryland crab cake, but a seafood crab fried cake anyway. Going back, I don't know if I would have still attended the second night. As much as we loved it, as much fun as it was,
mm-hmm.
We focused on some of the additional entertainment offerings, some trivia, things like that, that I'm glad we didn't miss out on. So overall thoughts of Rapunzel's Royal Table?
Yeah, I mean, it was great. I liked all my stuff. So that's where I think it was easy for me. And I love the show.
Mm-hmm.
It's Rapunzel. I mean, I have it tattooed
one of
on
my
me.
favorites.
So I love it. So
top three Disney for me.
Yeah.
Like, princess style movies. I'd put again, between Frozen, Rapunzel, and Princess and the Frog. I think those are my top 3. Where you probably gear towards Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast. What would your third be? If you had to pick like a 3 princess style,
probably Tangled
movie. Tangled. So that would be in yours. So I thought it was, I really enjoyed it. And I'm super excited to talk about the show next episode because they do have a Rapunzel and Tangled Broadway style show that we got to see.
Yes.
That we will cover next episode. All right, we're going to move on to the final rotational dining. And then we will still talk about our lunch, or our brunch, I should say, at Palo. But first, we're going to finish with Lumiere's, which is available on the Disney Magic only. And this is American and French fare with a modern twist. You are a Beauty and the Beast lover, a fanatic. What'd you think of the atmosphere and everything?
It was stunning.
There is no
gorgeous.
show to this one.
No, it's just gorgeous.
It's just a nice sit-down
beautiful
dinner. Yeah.
The rose was in the ceiling of the fixtures, and just
that was super
it was
cool.
just so elegant everywhere. I wore my Beauty and the Beast dress. I'm gonna go ahead and preface it with this was our day at sea. We had to change our patches with the scopolamine patch. This is we changed it Saturday morning when we were at Castaway Cay. So we took the one off and put the other one back on. I put it on the opposite ear or behind the opposite ear. And I don't know if I should have put it on the same. The more I got to thinking about it and talking with clients this week, I really think it was my dress. But when we were sitting at the show before dinner, you could majorly feel the boat.
You could feel
rocking.
You could feel the sway.
The sway.
Yeah.
So my dress, I too gained some weight a little bit, and I do felt like my dress around my stomach and chest area was very corset like, where I almost couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
So when we sat down for dinner, I was like, I can't put anything in my mouth. I'm afraid. I didn't feel like I was going to vomit. I just was like, I can't put anything in my mouth. I'm done. Like, I can't. If I do, it might come up, and I'm just going to sit here and enjoy everybody's company. Halfway through, I was like, I think I just need to get out of this dress. As soon as I did, I put because it was the last night, I only had my pajamas, but they were cute short and shirt type, and then I had the long sleeve sweatshirt that I put over top of that, so it looked like I had a sweatshirt and shorts on. And I came back to dinner, and after I got that dress off, I started feeling better and I could breathe better. And I don't think it was much of the boat as much as I do think it possibly was the dress, the more I think about it. But I did not eat dinner. I just ate dessert.
Yeah.
But we'll go ahead and we'll talk about Jeremy's.
Well, I think the boat definitely had something to do with it. This and we were talking to Sapphire, which was one of the entertainment cast members.
She
and
was amazing.
we were just saying like, boy, this boat sure was swaying. She's like, you think that's swaying? No. And she's right.
Yeah.
It was not awful.
No.
But for folks that don't cruise often and aren't used to any sort of sway on dry land, you certainly feel it. It was one that if you were to stand on the boat and you were to look out at the horizon in the water, you would see it move. Because there was enough of a sway. It was comparable enough to somebody who has not had alcohol in 2 months to going, wait, I didn't drink tonight, right? Like there was definitely that little bit. Like there, when we stood up after the show, that evening show, and you just stood still, you could feel your body slightly tilt left to right.
Yep.
As we were walking, there were, I think of it kind of like jumping on an elevator, right?
No, yeah.
There were moments where like I would go to take my left step and it felt all of a sudden like the ground had moved a half inch from where my foot was supposed to go.
Right.
But my body was expecting that not to happen.
Right.
There was a moment or two that I was walking up the stairs that was, I should probably grab this handrail. Again, nothing awful.
Right.
But it was enough that you definitely felt it and I could see where it could make you uneasy. If I didn't have the patch on, and again, I don't get nauseous or motion sick ever really.
Tell that to your green face on the carnival when we went.
I was also heavily drinking alcohol, which I'm sure did not help at that time. So here, as sober as I could possibly be, I could feel it. It did not have any bearing on me, but I knew it was there. So I could totally see how it could have affected you even with the patch on.
Yeah.
So I do think that was a part of it. I thought Lumiere's was beautiful, stunning. It was elegant, but I didn't understand where we were supposed to be. Where were we supposed to be?
Oh, like in a movie part?
Yes.
I mean,
because the mural, the giant, beautiful mural, was still Lumiere in candlestick form, in Cogsworth in clock form, in beast form.
And
so,
them dancing.
Yes.
I would tend to say it was probably like, I know he sang Be Our Guest and she was in her normal like
this is supposed
blue.
to be like the dining room.
I feel like the beautiful belle dress, the yellow one, this would be like, yes, they danced, but this would be like their dinner prior.
Gotcha. Okay. Because I was thinking at first,
very elegant.
To me, the decor felt like something that Lumiere would have opened as a restaurant after they all turned back into human form. You know what I mean? Like that's the feel that it had. But I thought it was beautiful. It had this just classic, like, just gorgeous feel. I thought it was really nice. Big open areas, but it didn't get too loud. We were in a great area against a wall in a sense where we weren't completely surrounded by other tables.
Yeah.
We really were only had tables on almost one side of us.
Yeah.
Because our back went to some kind of cabinetry and on the other side was the hostess or the host stand. And then on another side of us was the wall. And then we kind of looked out into the giant, like, dining room, ballroom, whatever you want to call it. So I really like that. They do have some specialty cocktails here that we did not partake in. There's a double crowned, which includes Crown Royal, Chambord, cranberry juice. They have an Imperial Illusion with Absolute Mandarin, Apple Pucker, Blue Caracal, and pineapple juice. And then they have a non-alcoholic Princess Delight with passion fruit juice and mango puree.
And I would have gotten the Imperial Illusion, but I was like, I'm not putting nothing in me right now.
You weren't feeling the best. They do have on the appetizer menu a breaded and deep fried brie, which we love the baked brie at Bar Riva. We just did not get this. Amy went ahead for the table for everyone to try, got the escargot. So this is Gaston's escargot. This is herb marinated snails with finely chopped mushrooms topped with garlic butter.
And it is for reals.
Yeah.
And
it's coming in that traditional, like you would see, well, I say traditional, only having eaten at places that are French within Disney World. It comes in on that plate that has the divots in it, and in each one is a snail, and it is covered in garlic butter, then has mushrooms with it. And that's how I would describe these. If you did not know better and you just ate one, I think you would think this was a cooked in garlic butter marinated mushroom. It had a lot of the flavor of a mushroom. It was not overly fishy or tasting like a seafood or something, which I know snails aren't
wasn't
seafood,
slimy.
but still, it wasn't slimy. Now, one of them I was fine with. It's not something that I would choose to get again. I still prefer when they do these like they used to at Food and Wine, where it's in a small, tiny, like almost like bread bowl is kind of the, I guess the cup, the serving thing, vessel that you would put it in. So I didn't hate them. I wasn't going to eat more than one. I do think this would be really good on like a crostini or some kind of bread that wasn't gross bread like they're serving, which again they served at this meal as well.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead, and I started to feel better, like I said, and had
when you
dessert.
Ate some bread?
I ate bread, and I felt like it was like an egg, where I was like cracking it.
Yeah, you could hear it on the table.
And then I cracked it open, and it just nothing but like. Even Maddie, we were laughing so hard at this part. All the crumbles, and then even Ari came. Or was it Julius that came and got all? I was like, I was
Julius
embarrassed.
Came. We were laughing because you had crumbs all over, and he literally took a breadcrumb brush.
Yeah,
I've only heard about these in books. Just kidding. You couldn't hear something in a book; you'd read it in a book. But yeah, he actually came with a crumb brush and brushed the crumbs. That's what it's called. It is specifically made for crumbs.
Well, yeah,
it's specifically made.
I was very
for
embarrassed.
Crumbs. I was super impressed. I mean, like, talk about the finest of dining. I've never experienced a crumb brush. I assume they have them at Victoria and Albert's. Whenever we go there, I'm just going to get crumbs all over the table and see what happens. But then I opted for the duck confit as an appetizer because I love duck. So this was slow-cooked duck leg pulled and garnished with dried cranberries and walnuts. This came like a stack, much like your tuna tartare one. So it was stacked. It kind of had, I don't even know what was on the bottom. And then it had this shredded duck confit on top, some of the cranberries, the walnuts. This is one of the grossest things that I've ever tasted in my entire life.
It looked like cat food.
This was cat food. If you remember our Food and Wine, when Italy had the audacity to not only serve us something that looked like and tasted like cat food. You remember they served it in a cat food can.
Yeah. I thought that was France.
It was France. I'm sorry. It was in France. This was so similar. This duck meat was pulverized. It was like fine shreds. It did not have flavor of duck. It tasted like Bucky's cat food smells. I like had a bite. It was cold. All of it was cold on intention. Not that it came out as a hot dish and had gotten cold. It was cold intentionally. And when Ari came back, I was just like, I don't think I said like this is awful or anything. I just was like, I can't eat this. And he said, do you want something else? And I said, sure. I'll do the iced lobster and jumbo shrimp. This comes with green asparagus, horseradish cream, and a dill dressing. This was the thin sliced lobster like we had on the salad over at Rapunzel's Royal Table. It was 3 or 4 nice cold shrimp with a little bit of the dressing. This was much better, but that duck confit was awful. I don't even think it was something that just wasn't for me. I can't picture, and I understand there's things I don't like. I understand that somebody could just eat a bowl full of mushrooms. I've seen you do it. Of cooked sauteed mushrooms at Boathouse, and you love it. But in my mind, I can fathom how you would enjoy that. I can't fathom in my mind that any human being could eat this. It was disgusting. I was so disappointed.
I'm sorry.
Let's move on to.
So nobody got the fried brie, right?
No.
I would have, but
yes,
again, I'm like, I
wish we would have. I wish you had.
Right.
Let's move on to soups and salads. They do have a leek and potato soup. They have a farmhouse salad with baby spinach, asparagus, cherry tomatoes, fingerling potatoes. That has a goat cheese crostini and olive vinaigrette. And then they have a red wine Basque pear salad. This actually sounds delicious. Arugula, sliced red onions, and crispy lardons dressed with a sherry wine dressing and served with a red wine poached Basque pear. I went with the French onion soup because I love French onion soup with Gruyere cheese crouton. Overall, this was good. The cheese was perfect. The crouton was huge. It was very bready, but it had soaked up all of that French onion. Only thing it was missing, like everything else, was just some salt.
Yeah.
Like salt goes such a long way in bringing out flavors, but I ate the whole thing. The onions were tender. You tried some of it. Did you like it?
I did. Yeah, it was fine.
Yeah.
Again, I wasn't 100% at this point. I was just like, oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So
if I went somewhere and they said, we have Lumiere's French onion soup from the ship, I wouldn't order it. But it was fine to have them.
Yeah.
And the cheese was out. The Gruyere cheese was outstanding.
Yeah.
It was so good. Tons of cheese on top, melty, bubbly. Just love that taste. You have to you almost have to cut it with like a knife because it's so stringy.
Yeah.
But that part was good. Again, just give it some salt.
Yeah.
Like just season it, please. Let's move on to the main course, unfortunately. They do have an oven-baked salmon royale. They have a roasted rack of lamb.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have a roasted filet steak. Now, I will say that's what Amy got. She did get the filet.
Yes, she did. And
she got it cooked, I believe, medium rare.
Mm-hmm.
And she let me have a bite, and I'll tell you why after our Palo. And it was very good. It's this, even though the steak wasn't awful at Animator's Palate, once I put some salt and pepper, this is more the steak that I wish it had been.
Okay.
And then we'll talk Palo.
But it was very, very good. She was very
happy.
happy.
Good. Yeah, she was very happy, and I can see why. They did a good job with that. I went ahead and ordered the crispy roasted duck breast because, again, I love duck. This comes with cabbage, shallots, a honey parsnip mash, and a duck red wine jus. And when I ordered it, Ari said, just to let you know, the skin is not crispy. And I said, okay. Why? I didn't think of it. Why is the skin not crispy? It's literally called crispy roasted duck breast. The skin on a duck breast should be crispy. So this came out and it was a good portion. It was like breast and leg, sliced about a half-inch thick. The breast was, and then the whole leg sticking up. It was prepared well enough. It had that light pink to it. It had decent enough flavor. Again, zero seasoning to it, no salt or anything. He's not kidding about saying the skin was not crispy. It
looked flabby.
It was flabby. That's being generous to it. It was flabby. We love parsnip mash. I think they took parsnips. Here's what happened. Here's what I think happened. Okay. They took the parsnip, and the guy in charge of peeling them got confused. And instead of peeling the parsnip and discarding the peel and keeping the heart of it, and then cooking that and then mashing it and putting some maybe butter, cream, all of that in it and serving it to you, and you're going, this is delicious. Like, this is like mashed potatoes, but better.
Right.
They accidentally took the skins. Were in the ground, the dirty exterior skins. And instead, they cooked those and mashed them down because this tasted like dirt. Tell me you agree because you did try
I did try them. I started to feel better. And I did try this and I was like, ew. Like, and then here's what's funny. He ordered the pasta as well, which I was going to order if I would have felt fine. And it is with buttered lobster tossed in a tomato, shrimp, tarragon, brandy sauce with lemon basil. Sounded amazing. First of all, when it came out, Maddie was like, is that mac and cheese? And we're like, no, it's this. And it did. It looked like mac and cheese.
Yeah. It's like a congeli pasta. It's not quite shells, but it's kind of similar.
That's what it kind of looked like.
Yeah. It looked more like shells.
So it looked like mac and cheese.
Yep.
I tasted that. And again, I was like, is there something wrong with my taste buds?
I thought something was wrong.
And then when I did that, Jeremy was like, oh, thank God, because I thought something was wrong with me.
I'm not going to lie. It sounds stupid. I was concerned for myself for a moment. I genuinely, I was going back in my head that day and I thought, I didn't know what, but I'm like, did I eat something? Did I eat one of the Pinocchio's pizza earlier and it burnt taste bud? Like, I thought something was wrong with my taste buds because
no, it was all unfortunately it was all awful.
Yeah.
I did not I almost spit the pasta out because it almost tasted fishy as well. Like it was not.
I did eat the lobster out of it and the lobster was not bad. The sauce wasn't awful. Here's what the pasta tasted like. And I did notice it appeared that when the girls got their pasta each night, it looked like a wheat pasta, which is fine. But that should be told to you. This tasted like, again, almost like an uncleaned wheat pasta. And it was definitely just out of a box.
It was not good.
It was not good.
No.
It was, in fact, it was bad. Out of everything, to me, like, I mean, this was almost unedible, except I picked out the lobster.
Yeah.
It just was not good.
Yeah.
I was so disappointed. You know, this is our last full sit-down meal of the night.
Yeah.
And it was bad all around. I mean, I know that I ended up getting the shrimp and the lobster after that cat food duck confit.
Yeah.
But even that
and I
still
asked you
wasn't
if it was
like the
good,
best.
and you said it was better.
It was definitely better.
Yeah.
I was so disappointed.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and
Chuck's was good too.
Yeah. Based on my previous experience with steak on this ship is the reason I didn't order the steak.
Right.
And at that point, I've already ordered 2 meals. And honestly, I just wasn't going to order a third. I already felt bad that they were putting this to waste. I ate a whole piece of the sliced duck, except for the skin, because it was just flabby and fatty. But other than that, pretty much my entire 2 dishes were going to end up in the garbage.
Right.
And I felt bad about it.
Right.
But you know, I certainly wasn't going to ask them to re-prepare it or do anything.
And Ari was amazing.
Yes,
I kept asking, and Jeremy was like, "No, it's fine." So let's move on to dessert because this is the best.
Yes.
And this is a good ending with it.
So they do have like, you know, again, they have that slow roasted breast of chicken, the baked, the salmon, the chicken, the steak. For the lighter note offerings, those are on every single menu.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're good with those things, boy, are you in for a treat. They do have a wild and vegetarian. They have a wild mushroom stuffed pasta and a vegetable broth.
Which sounded good, but then after
but if
that,
it's that pasta, no. They have a grilled marinated tofu, roasted zucchini, eggplant, and red peppers. I don't know. Maybe that'll be okay. Same line of your after-teenies, your specialty coffees, and your liqueurs and all. They do have a no sugar added duo chocolate slice. They got a strawberry shortcake sundae. They got an apple tart tatine. And then
they did not have the gray stuff.
They did not, which
I
was very
even said something to Ari about, and I'm honestly, I was taken aback by
seems
that.
like a home run.
Because in all honesty, they have done multiple copycat recipes for the gray stuff. Yeah. And really, it's just
like buttercream and Oreos, right? Crushed up Oreos. Yeah.
And it's amazing.
All you got to do is put this on a cupcake. They're doing it.
Or what I got, which was the creme brulee, put it like a squirt, just a tiny little squirt, or even a nice size squirt, where it's on the side where you can eat it together if you want.
Yeah.
But I will say I did get this vanilla creme brulee with the almond biscotti. And I ate the entire thing. Maddie did not like her dessert, so
nor the several others that we offered.
It was very funny.
Ari kept pulling them out. He kept pulling them out behind him.
Yeah, it was hysterical.
Like, how about this dessert? No, how about this dessert?
But she got another creme brulee, and I ate not only all of mine, I was sticking my spoon in hers and eating.
Creme brulee was outstanding.
It was fantastic. It was creamy. It was a great vanilla creme brulee. Yep. I loved it.
Yeah, one thing we cannot complain about, including me, is desserts on this show.
Right.
They were outstanding.
Yep.
I did the Grand Marnier souffle with the Grand Marnier creme anglaise. This was very, very good.
He poured it in. Yep. I took a bite of that. It was fantastic.
And then they had a classic opera gâteau, which was layers of toucan sponge soaked in coffee syrup, a chocolate ganache, and rich buttercream. This was a tiramisu.
I didn't like this one.
Really? I really
did
enjoyed
not.
it. It had a heavy coffee flavor, but I really liked it.
I did not.
It was a good tiramisu.
But I loved everything else.
Yeah. So, you know, if we go back to the rotational dining, I wish that ours had been completely reversed.
And Lumiere's would have been first.
Had been night 1.
Yeah.
I wish that we had Royal Table, Rapunzel's Royal Table second still.
Okay, so you wouldn't have just flipped Lumiere's and
finished with Animator's Palette.
Animators.
Yeah, so I would have literally just flipped the whole thing. If we could have doubled up, I probably would have chosen Animator's Palette.
Oh,
you know, the only real fall there for me was the soup, which was fine.
Which,
you know,
there was other things you could have gotten.
So, yeah, you know, overall with the rotational dining, I might have a slightly even, I hate to say it, worst opinion if we had not gotten wonderful shows during 2 of them. I thought Lumiere's was a bust food-wise. Not company-wise, not service-wise, not, again, throughout all of these,
so
service was spectacular.
Yep.
Company was the best we could ask for. Atmospheres were amazing. The ones that had shows were incredible. Just with the quality of food that we personally have learned to love and cherish at Walt Disney World theme parks, it just didn't translate here for these.
Yeah.
And disappointingly, that would continue for our Mother's Day brunch at Palo, especially for me.
Yes. Especially for you.
So we booked Palo, which we had done dinner on the Wish, and we loved.
Yeah.
We really enjoyed Palo dinner. It was outstanding. It's available on the Magic, the Wonder, the Dream, the Fantasy, the Wish. It is available on all of the ships. This is exquisite Italian cuisine, and their brunch comes in at $50 a person. And again, this is a full menu, getting whatever the heck it is you want, as much as you want. Again, it's that added cost, but at only $50, I think is a really, really good price, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about cocktail selection, because we each did get a cocktail and mocktail, right? What did you have?
The Balsamic Grande, which basically I was like, what is that? This is $12.50. And he basically explained it is vodka. It is it was red. What is it? Like a strawberry, maybe like a
liqueur puree or something.
Yeah. And then a balsamic.
Yeah.
Like and it was, however, and whatever he read off, he was very Italian. He was very handsome.
Gerano,
but
I believe was his name.
When he read it, I was even still kind of like, what'd he say? And
Yes.
Amy goes, that sounds like you in a cup.
He had a very thick Italian
And
accent.
I was like, oh, okay, then I will have this.
Yeah.
And this drink was fantastic.
Yeah.
So, and because there was a strawberry, and like I said, I can only just imagine what it was, what was in it, but it was fantastic.
He did bring us that like super I think 18-year aged balsamic vinegar to go with some of the bread. That stuff was stupid.
Yeah, that was good.
It was so dang good. They do have a Bellini for $6.75, so their prices are really good.
Yeah.
And then I got the Capriani Bellini, which is non-alcoholic, for $5.50, which tasted like a regular alcoholic Bellini. It was really good. It was the perfect brunch beverage.
Nice.
So I really enjoyed that. The atmosphere here is beautiful. We're looking out over the back of the ship, the aft. You have the aft, you have midship, and you have forward. Aft is back, and it is literally encompasses the entire back on the 10th floor, looking out over the water. So beautiful atmosphere, played everything. It's very, very elegant.
Yeah.
And yeah, you have this well-dressed, very stunning, handsome Italian man who is taking your orders and serving you in fresh cracked pepper and a thick Italian accent and all. So perfect in all of that. So we will start off. They have an antipasti selection.
And this is just like any other, where if we wanted to order the entire menu, you could.
Get everything you want.
So.
Yeah, even though it is a fixed price that you're paying above and beyond. So Rhonda got one of the antipasti selections. I got the other. The first one is a Jonah crab claw, lemon marinated shrimp, marinated green lip mussels, spiced ahi tuna, served with Meyer lemon, saffron aioli, a dill honey mustard, and cocktail sauce. Rhonda got the meat one, which was sliced prosciutto, sliced coppa, sliced briscola, salami, marinated olives, roasted garlic, Parmigiano Reggiano, sweet peppadew. I thought both of these were exactly as we read them.
Yeah.
I don't know
meat and cheese, and it was great.
Meats, cheeses. Mine was seafood.
Yep.
My only real disappointed, my Jonah crab claw was fairly small and overcooked a little bit, so the meat didn't really pull off of the claw the way that you would like, but it had a good Jonah crab claw flavor. The mussel was outstanding. I actually made you try a little, because to me it resembled more of like a cold steamed oyster, but it had really good herb flavoring in it and like butter and all. What else do we have? The shrimp was good. It was perfectly cooked, cold shrimp. And then the spiced ahi tuna was perfection. That actually was outstanding.
Yep.
Loved it. Yours was meats and cheeses. I think it's kind of hard to mess up. So we started off really well. Right?
Yes.
We started off on the right foot.
Yes.
So next, you ended up going with, and there's a whole selection of eggs. And Amy actually did a frittata.
Yes.
That she enjoyed but didn't love.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. I tasted it.
And all.
Yep.
Did you?
Yep.
You still liked it enough?
Yeah, it was like a omelet to me, like a fluffy, and for gluten free, I was impressed, and it was fantastic.
Yeah.
But he did bring her a donut that was gluten free.
That's right.
Holy crap! This donut was
really good.
It tasted like they went to Dunkin' Donuts and got an old fashioned donut, and it was so good.
That's awesome.
It was stupid good.
That's great.
So.
Yeah. They have these different frittatas and omelets. You can get poached eggs on a buttered English muffin, so you can get a variety of different, basically eggs Benedict. You can get one with rosemary ham, spinach and a Mornay sauce. You can get smoked salmon with a hollandaise sauce and caviar. They have waffles and pancakes, strawberry, apple, cinnamon, buttermilk pancakes, blueberry pancakes. They have a celery soup. You got the heirloom tomato and basil soup served with grape tomatoes and virgin olive oil.
Mm-hmm.
Nice fresh drizzle of like legit virgin olive oil.
Yes.
How'd you like this?
It was really good.
Yeah.
I really liked it. It was a really good tomato and basil soup. I did. I thought it was, tasted very well seasoned. That's what I'm trying to put. Seasoned very good. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was good. It was a good bowl of soup. They do have items from their pizza stone oven, some flatbreads or calzone. The calzone is prosciutto, basil, bell peppers, and mozzarella cheese. Then they have flatbread. They have a margarita. They got a spicy Italian sausage. And then I went ahead and ordered the goat cheese and sun-dried tomato. I know it's not a very brunchy item, but it sounded good. And I love pizza. And I was really craving like a legit pizza. Even though Pinocchio's pizza is fine, it's not hitting that like legit wood-fired craving, right? So much like at California Grill, they're bringing you a whole dang pizza.
Yes.
Which I mean, I don't know how I would have expected it, but a like 12 to 14 inch pizza, 6 slices, super thin crust, nice and yeasty. Like it tastes handmade and hand tossed. It is wood fired, great flavor. You got those hits of the goat cheese. You could see the sun-dried tomato throughout. I really, really enjoyed this. But I'm not going to eat a whole dang pizza when I've got this other food.
Correct.
And you cannot take this with you to your room. I asked.
So, but we'll come back to that.
Well, we will, but I don't stop doing this. Like at least at California Grill, I got to take the pizza with me.
Yeah.
So
I don't understand that.
So
like why you couldn't
so
or why.
Here's the thing, and I understand because here's the thing. With it being a price extra, okay, is my thought. They don't want you to say, I'll take a pizza and I'll take a calzone. I'd also like some pancakes and I'll take this and I'll take that. And then you take one bite of each and you just take the rest with you, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
But here's the thing.
But you're still paying for it. Who cares?
But here's the thing.
It's the same thing as...
You're going to serve me a whole pizza. And I'm going to say, all right, there's like 6 slices. All right? I think between us, we ate 2. I think Chuck tried some, you tried some. I ate a whole slice. I might have finished, whatever. There's at least 2/3 to 3/4 or whatever of the pizza left.
Right.
We said, are we allowed to take this back to the room? He said, no, you're not allowed to take anything with you.
Right.
So here's a thought process. That would rather be thrown in the garbage than me take it with me
and
when
possibly
I did pay for
eat it.
Right. When I did pay for it.
Correct.
I understand it's a fixed price. I didn't pay individually for that pizza or anything, but they would rather throw it in the garbage.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It was good. We will move on to some entrees. They have stuff like a rollatini mezzalini, which is a baked eggplant filled with prosciutto, ricotta, mozzarella.
Mm-hmm. I almost got that, but I didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, I was kind of surprised you didn't. They've got veal. They've got a roasted red snapper filet. Chuck got the lasagna bolognese. And then gluten-friendly, Amy got the Parmesan-crusted chicken breast. We will give you quick opinions on both of those from their thoughts. They both enjoyed them, but didn't find them the level of a Palo brunch that they expected, right?
Yeah.
And I could agree. I tasted the lasagna. I did think it was pretty good. But, again, I don't know that it was Palo good.
Right.
You opted for the wild mushroom ravioli with Meyer lemon, nut brown butter, and toasted pine nuts. I went ahead and got the grilled cut sirloin steak with a thyme herb butter, green beans, and Barolo wine potatoes. I asked for it medium rare and got my dish. Now, it says sirloin steak on here, which I think should have tipped me off. I have no idea why they're not doing a filet, tenderloin, something like that. You know, I don't know why they're not doing that here.
Right.
This is Palo. So what I got was thick cut, like sliced potatoes that tasted to me like a potato confit. These were actually delicious. Like a Yukon Gold style potato. They were fork tender. They had a ton of flavor. They tasted like they had been cooked in fat, like in the best way possible.
Oh, good.
The green beans were fresh. They were vibrant. They had a good flavor to them. Laid on top of them was this sirloin steak. I would have been lucky if it was a 1/2 inch thick. Lots of fat still on it, on half of the side of it, and stuff going
Golden
through
Corral
it.
steak.
Yeah. This was a $5.99 maybe steak that you pick up at Publix. You know, this was something that you're throwing on the grill. You're not doing much to it. You're not really, I mean, it was seasoned, unlike anything else I pretty much had on this ship. I had a bite or two and was just like, I can't believe this is what they're putting out here.
Yeah.
And go back to Lumiere's that night where they served a wonderful filet to Amy. Why that's on the ship. Why are you doing this sirloin steak, this 1/2 inch thick, just backyard grill? And it wasn't even like backyard grill like it was going to be the star of your show.
Right.
This was backyard grill like you go over to a Memorial Day cookout and somebody goes, hey, I'm throwing stuff on the grill. We're going to have burgers and hot dogs and chicken and steaks. And you know what I mean? Like the focus isn't on the steak. There was zero focus put on this thing.
Right.
When I had ordered it, he came back a little bit later and I hadn't really looked over the menu to see what they had, but I know that this is an Italian place, right?
Right.
And I just said to him, I said, hey, is there any way that I could also get like a side of pasta? And he was like, well,
you're
what
like
do you
fresh
mean?
pasta.
Yeah, like fresh pasta. And he's like, well, what do you mean? I was like, I don't know, like whatever pasta do you have? I just kind of want like a side of it. Maybe
so he
just
brought
like
you my
butter.
dish.
So he's like, the only pasta we have available is the ravioli. I can bring you that. And I was like, okay. So let's talk about your wild mushroom ravioli. Since I'm already selling this place. Like,
I loved it.
Sign me up.
Listen, Disney,
absolutely
loved
spokesperson.
mine.
It's me.
You
did. You loved yours.
The brown nut butter and the toasted pine nuts and the ravioli and the mushroom taste. The entire taste to me, I absolutely loved. It wasn't too greasy. I loved it so much that Jeremy took a bite of his.
Because he brought it to me after. And he said, he looked at the steak. He was like, is everything okay? And I just said, no, this isn't. I think I said, no, this isn't good. And he said, was it cooked? He said, was it not cooked right or something like that? And I looked at him and I said, this isn't a good cut of meat.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I said. I was like, this isn't a good cut of meat. It's not. It had nothing to do with the preparation. Right. It wasn't a good cut of meat. It was a cheap throwaway cut of meat.
Right.
And so I knew that I had the ravioli coming. Of course, you had already gotten yours. And again, he had such a thick accent and he was an outstanding waiter. There's no fault of his.
No, not at all.
But I don't think I had connected when he said he could offer me the ravioli.
Right.
That it was exactly what you were getting.
Right.
Because I would have saved them some time and food.
Well, I ate.
Oh, I know you ate all yours. Yeah.
I ate all of mine and then I ate like 2 of yours.
Yeah.
So I was okay that yours came out, but you did take a bite and you just were like, no, I don't like this at all either. I really did. I enjoyed it. It was so good that I'm not sad that I didn't get the eggplant, but it would have been interesting to possibly try that.
Sure. Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, for me in the ravioli, Lucy, if you're listening, knows and calls me out on my tendencies to be salty.
Yes,
unlike most of the food on this ship, I can be salty. Mm-hmm. And I will say, and this is a fault of my own, I will 100% admit it. We're a very positive podcast. If you listen to us, you know we are. You know that we sometimes wear the Disney rose-colored glasses. We probably sometimes see things for better than others might see them. I totally get that.
Yeah.
I will admit that fully. We often put a Disney love on top of things that if they were served outside of Disney, we might not give the same raving review to, right?
I'd eat this all day long if this was served outside.
I do have a tendency that when I am put off by something, it can put my attitude down pretty quick.
Oh, 100%.
You know, it can. And sometimes it's hard to get me out of that during that moment.
That is true.
I can admit that. I'm aware of it. It is a fault of mine. It is very hard for me to have this steak that I was extremely excited about, Palo. I got this booked for us for brunch for Mother's Day.
And let's remind everybody that we were on the Wish and had it with Lucy and Caleb.
And blew our minds.
It was outstanding.
Yes. So I understand that it would have been very hard for anything else to potentially put in front of me and for me to flat out turn my attitude around and just say, this is outstanding. With that being said, I didn't love the ravioli. I thought the nut brown butter and Meyer lemon, I thought the lemon was overpowering. The sauce was broken and for mine was slightly almost chunky in ways. The pasta was slightly I guess uncooked. It wasn't an al dente to me. It could have used just a little bit longer. I didn't get a mushroomy feeling, which was fine, or filling, which was fine for me. I don't want that.
Yeah.
I thought the filling and all was fine. I didn't care for it. Now, I don't know if I didn't love it because I was salty and I was just upset with what we already got.
Lucy would say yes.
She probably would.
Because I really liked it.
Lucy knows me very, very well.
Yes,
Lucy,
she does.
I'll be honest. Next to you, Lucy probably knows me better than any other human being, especially when it comes to stuff like this, right? I have posted things on Instagram and I will get a text from her and like an hour later and be like, still salty over that? Seriously, because she catches on. And so anyway, I felt so bad then that I started, because then you ate more, but before you ate more, I cut up and kind of like, I pulled the kid move. You know, like a kid is like, hey, you got to eat everything on your plate or you don't get dessert.
So you cut it up and move it
So
around?
I moved it around because I felt bad. And
I ate some of it, so it helped him out.
I didn't want Toronto to look poorly on me because I've already basically sent back this steak. You know, now he's going to say, I didn't, but I just said it wasn't good. I didn't want him to come and see that I had only eaten one ravioli and be like, what the heck, dude? Can nobody please you? Apparently not at Palo and brunch. And so I literally was cutting it up and moving around. I think I hid one piece of ravioli under another whole ravioli.
Are you serious? I ate some of yours though.
I know, and I felt bad, but
I liked it a lot.
It wasn't, I was super disappointed. We'll talk about the dessert in a minute, but as I go back, our bill was $50 for your meal and $50 for mine.
Yeah.
Now,
but the drinks were
not on there.
So
now I had originally looked and saw $40 per person, but I think I might have looked at an older pricing. I believe it might now be $50. Either that, it was $50 a person, and he gave us our drinks for free, which is fairly unheard of in Disney standards. They're not ones to dole out alcohol, and you did have an alcoholic beverage.
Yes, I did.
Or if he just made it some sort of flat 50 with the drink. I'm not sure what happened, but you know, in the end, and we still tipped very well. We tipped 30%. Our bill at the end, we paid $130. It was a $100 bill. And then we tipped $30 on top because his service was wonderful.
Yes, it was.
The atmosphere was wonderful. You know, I'm not going to ever knock a waiter or waitress. Now, if they said, hey, would you like to tip the chef? I might have a different conversation. But, so we still paid $130 for this meal. And I came out enjoying a slice of pizza.
You should have just eaten more of the pizza because you couldn't take it with you. But then, because you didn't like your steak, he did come back out and say, because of this, I'm going to let you take this. No,
not take the pizza.
I will take it to your room personally.
Not the pizza that I had sitting in front of me that I could have walked away with. He had already taken it. He had already taken the leftover pizza. And as far as I know, was sitting on top of a trash can. What he offered, which was super generous of him, and I really, really appreciate it, he offered for them to make a whole other pizza and have it delivered to my room. Sign me up. That sounds great. Here's the rub. He said, when will you be in your room so that it can be delivered?
We weren't in our room.
Now, the crab cakes from the night before were delivered to our room without us being present.
Right.
We were left there. I said, I'm not really sure. You know, this was an 11 a.m. We're finishing up a little after noon. I knew that we had a whole bunch of trivia. This is our day at sea. We have all kinds of things we want to do. I said, might be in the room like 2, 3. I'm not really sure. I never saw the pizza.
Right.
Again, as far as I know, nobody stopped by. Maybe they did. We didn't answer. I don't know why they wouldn't have left it in the room. There wasn't like a message like from a phone call.
Right.
So again, probably no fault of his. Just that's what it was. Let's talk about dessert. You got the limoncello torte, and I went with the buttermilk panna cotta pot.
Mm-hmm.
Your limoncello torte was citrus cake, cream cheese, lemon curd, and citrus salad. How did you like this? Very pretty, layered.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
It tasted a little bit like a sponge cake, I think, or whatever cake that is.
Yeah.
It was fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I took quite a few bites. Yeah, very good.
Good. I had this buttermilk panna cotta pot with strawberry popping pearls and pistachio crumble. And it gets served to you. It looks like it's like a miniature fishbowl.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah,
And
that's right.
The very, very bottom has the pistachio crumble. And then there's this layer of, white panna cotta, buttermilk panna cotta that kind of just looks like a yogurt. And then there's all these strawberry popping pearls layered on top, and you got to really dig in there with the spoon. And it brought out to me, I'm salty as all get out, and I'm just like, whatever. And this was amazing. I'm not good. This might have been my favorite dessert.
Oh, wow.
On out of all the sit down dining, I can't even, it was so light. It was so refreshing. The pop of the pearls and that blast of strawberry balanced perfectly with like the buttermilky panna cotta. I loved it. They did a gluten-friendly version for Amy. She loved hers. So they did end on a very, very high note.
Yeah.
It took a lot to get there.
Yeah.
All that being said, as we tend to do, this was my experience, our experience.
Right.
If somebody messaged me next week and said, should we book brunch at Palo? I would say, listen to our episode, take it with a grain of salt.
Right.
I would not recommend it based on my experience, but I wouldn't tell you to not book it. Like I would never tell anyone to not book something that I had a bad experience from.
Yeah. Well, and just like we've said before with food, it can always change because, I mean, just like at, Australia and the lamb shank. And when we had it once, it was awful. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to give it a try again. And then it was great.
Yeah.
So, that's...
Yeah, I mean, I can give them the benefit of the doubt, especially knowing the quality of the dinner that we had there on the Wish. Like, I'm perfectly fine giving them that benefit of the doubt. Would I be quick to book brunch on our next cruise? No.
You'd save the money.
But yes.
Yeah.
That's the hard part.
Yeah.
I want to give them the benefit of the doubt. And again, like, who knows? If this had been a filet prepared the exact same way, I might have had a very different opinion.
Right.
You really enjoyed the ravioli.
I did.
I did not as much, but that's me.
Right.
So that's kind of, I guess, the whole thing as we go there. But we are going to finish here, and we're going to finish with 2 tasting seminars.
Yes.
That you got to participate in. So these are all, booked online prior to your trip. They've got Amari tasting, beer tasting, bourbon, champagne, chocolate and liquor, cognac. They've got a kickstart your day beverage tasting. It does like mimosas and I think Bloody Marys, martini, a mixology class, mojito, rum tasting, stem to stern wine tasting, tequila and margarita, and there are whiskey tastings. Let's start with the first one that you did, which was a mixology class. If you want to talk about the process, because I had this booked prior.
Yes. Let's go back to that and say prior, we had all this stuff booked. I mean, you had whiskey and bourbon and all these mixology / tastings booked. And then once you made the decision to not drink anymore, we canceled a bunch of stuff. I was willing to cancel these classes as well. But you said, no, go ahead and keep them, and we'll go ahead and I can work.
Man.
Yeah, which is fine. And I am fine with doing that. So I did. And yes, we kept the mixology. And when I say we, it was me, Amy, Chuck, and Olivia. And it was the 4 of us. And we went to this mixology class. So it's stir up popular cocktails during this bartending workshop, from layered shots to margaritas, martinis, and more.
This one was $45.
This was.
The mixology class.
Yes, it was.
So extra paid, obviously.
Yes. So we come in and it's really pretty. It was in the Keys Lounge where there is a live piano that plays after dark. And this is on the after hours.
With a person?
With a person.
Like person playing piano?
Yeah.
Or just the piano's alive?
I don't know. The piano might have been alive. I never went there. I don't know.
It'd be like it'd be like Beauty and the Beast.
This is after hours, so it is 18 and up. So they had a couple of, I guess you call them bar carts that had liquors and stuff on it. I did see limoncello, so I was very excited for this mixology class. We sit down at this couch, and it's beautiful, and there's stuff in front of you. Along the bar is 4 different, I guess, drink mix stuff, where it's the mixes, it's the liquor, and then they came out, the cast members, the main man, he talked about all the stuff and how to do things. And he had his team, and they brought out these full drinks, not tastings, like giant drinks.
But you're not mixing them.
I was not. I just sat there and listened the entire time.
So they took the mix out of mixology?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Interesting.
It was interesting. I mean, like, he explained like just a lot of information on like what makes, like, you know, a champagne cocktail. You know, because he used Absolute Raspberry vodka and Saint Germain, and you use half an ounce of the Absolute Raspberry and half an ounce of the sparkling Germain, which makes an ounce, and then you fill it up with the rest. And then he was explaining, like, if you don't do it right, then it's not.
So he's walking you through crafting a cocktail, but you weren't actually crafting
No.
it. Gotcha. Okay.
So he puts it in front of you, and this champagne cocktail, by the way, this was fantastic. I drank the whole thing, had a little raspberry in it, and he makes the whole drink right there. Then he will ask a question, and whoever answers that question will get this whole drink. So not only do you have 4 full solid drinks, you could have 5.
You have the opportunity to earn more.
Correct.
Nice. Pretty good for $45.
It was, but ever since Jeremy stopped, I have limited myself a lot. I have I've cut way back. I've also learned cutting way back that I am a good, on a day that we're hanging out and doing things, I like to have 3. That's it. I don't like to go any more than that. So I was like, holy crap, this is a lot. And I was like, oh, I don't want it. The champagne cocktail was fantastic. And then I was like expecting, again, like smaller drinks. I did drink the whole thing. Thank God nobody else like Amy or Chuck wanted to give it to me. Plus I probably would have said no.
Yeah.
The next one was, he called it a dirty mojito, because it was a dark rum, Sprite, mint, and lime. And then he explained all about the mint, and then how like you slap it and all that kind of stuff. And I did not like this at all.
Oh, really?
I took 2 sips. I took 1 just the way it was brought out. I took another because I stirred it. And the way my mint was in there, I had Olivia dying. It looked like a shrimp tail. I thought a shrimp was in. I was like, what is in my drink? And the way the glass was, it was like a whiskey glass. So she just cracked up. I did not drink this. We moved on to a white sangria. And this was Malibu and peach schnapps and Contour and pineapple juice and fresh orange juice with a white wine. And again, he explained all how to make it. And this was very good. Again, it was a full drink. It was good. I think I might have drank most of it. The next one, praise God, was a martini, but it was a very tiny martini. Praise God. It was not a full martini glass, which when a full martini glass is actually made, I believe you're putting about 2 ounces of liquor in there.
Okay.
So, it was a dark martini. I don't remember. I'd have to look at the picture of what was put in it. There was a blueberry. There's one blueberry in it. Cause again, I was like, what's in my drink? This was pretty good for being a different martini. Yeah. And then there was one last thing, which was a bubblegum layered shot. I do not do shots anymore. I don't like shots. If I ever got a shot, I always like to sip on it. I pretty much, when he started talking about the shot, I kind of spoke up and said, you sip it or something. And he was like, you just ruined my, or whatever. And I'm like over here going, oh God, I really got to do this. This was a banana liqueur, blue caraco, and Bailey's. And what he did was a layered shot. So he was explaining how to, and then we all took a shot together. I did it. It was good.
It tastes like bubblegum?
No, I didn't get that.
Okay.
That's why I don't like shots.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Yeah.
Anyways, the banana liqueur, the taste altogether, like I love Bailey's. I do like a banana liqueur. It was great. It was funny because Liv got to make it and try it, and so she got a second shot. Yeah. I was like, okay, I'm done, and I drank water for pretty much the rest of the day. I was disappointed in going and expecting to maybe kind of mixology my own drinks if I wanted to. Because when we were drinking here at home and everything, I would have Jeremy always make my drinks because he always did pretty good. I was kind of excited because I was like, if I ever want to make something of my own and not have him deal with it, I could do it. Yeah. No, this was just a sit down, you get it, and they explain it to you. Yeah. But so I
was surprised when you were telling me that. I thought it would have been like like making your own drinks and measuring it out yourself and shaking it or whatever it may be and all of that. Would you recommend this? I mean, $45 seems like a great price.
Listen, if you're drinking and you like everything that I just said, absolutely. Yeah. Because $45, I mean, and these, like I said, are pretty much whole drinks. Yeah. The martini was just a smaller one. And then it was a regular shot because that whole thing. Yeah. Like I'm done.
So what's the other one you did? You did another one on a different day.
So I preferred this one much more, and I would probably, how would I say this? I would probably recommend this one more. Okay. So this was a chocolate and liquor tasting. Again, it was all 4 of us, Amy, Chuck, Liv, and me. And so this was really cool because you had 4 drinks as well. One was a champagne, which he explained all about champagne and it being from the region of France. And then he actually explained more, but
anything else outside of champagne, France is sparkling wine.
Correct. Yep. But he also said something else. I am not going to lie. Both of the people that spoke, the one was from Indian and had very thick accent, which was a little harder for me to understand. It was, and then the other one, I forget where he was from. So it was a little hard, to try to concentrate and keep up and not write things down. But, the champagne was fantastic. And then we had chocolates in front of us. One was in a martini glass, again, just like the one before, that tiny little, and it was a white chocolate and it was a brown milk chocolate. Nice. And he told us to taste the champagne, and then he told us to taste the white chocolate and taste the champagne, and then and holy crap, that was incredible. The way it tasted and made the change was fantastic and amazing. Then next was a red wine, and it was actually a blend of Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, and a Malbec. And this was great. I liked this red wine. I hadn't had a red wine in a long time. Yeah. Great red wine. There was again, he kept going back to the chocolate. That was the liquid chocolate in the martini glass. But there was a chocolate piece of like, just like a chocolate on the plate in front. And then he was like, have that with that. And the way this tasted with the red wine, oh my gosh.
That's
Again, It was really cool. It was amazing. They had a port wine, which going back to San Sebastian, this port wine was so good. I personally liked it just by itself.
Okay.
It is a dessert wine. It is a region from Portugal, and it was really good. And it was really good, excuse me, with the chocolate. But I just liked it by itself.
Yeah.
And then there was a whiskey that was a like Scotch.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I know you didn't like that.
Did not. Nope. I took one taste. I did not like it.
Yeah.
I tried some chocolate with it. Did not like it and gave it to Amy.
Oh,
she loved it.
Yeah.
So
this one was $60. Was this
okay.
one worth it to you?
I don't think I realized the price on that. I kind of still think so.
Okay.
If you like your red wine, if you like your wines, because that's basically what this really was.
Now, how many? Obviously, you four were in there, but how many were like the total?
It was full.
Classes?
It was pretty full
Like
on
how
both
many,
of them.
Roughly, are we talking about?
Roughly 20 to 30.
Holy moly!
20.
Oh, I had no idea it was that many people.
Yeah.
I thought this was
I'm like-
much more of like a personalized, like.
No.
Oh,
I'm trying to think because there was 4 of us. There was 4 here. There was 4. If you're out in 4,
16,
4,
20,
4.
yeah.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
I had no idea it was that big. Well, no wonder they're not having everybody mix their own drinks and everything. They don't have time for any of that.
I think the chocolate tasting had more.
Yeah.
So 20 maybe in the first one, 30 maybe in the second
Each
one.
of these lasted an hour.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you'd recommend both. I mean, I think that this sounds like pretty cool to do. I mean, yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, cool.
Yeah.
That's
fun.
it.
We had fun.
Yes. That's it. That's it for this episode. That covered the food and the beverage and the tastings. We still have entertainment, Castaway Key, staterooms. Not coming right now. Don't worry, folks. You get Saturday, Sunday, and Monday off from listening. But we will be back with the next episode on Tuesday, which will cover again Castaway Key, the staterooms, the entertainment. So we are super excited to bring you all of that. Who knows how long that will take? But we really, it's a lot easier for us to cover Disney World, and if we miss a little something, we can just come back to it. This being so cruise specific, we won't go on another cruise till 2025. We're eyeballing some of those and looking at that. Probably a little bit later in the year in 2025, possibly. So we really want to make sure that we can just paint the entire picture here and give you all the possible information. So that is going to wrap it up for today's episode. But go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You get all new episodes every Tuesday, every Friday. You get the rest of this Disney Magic review, covering all of those wonderful things, plus a summer full of awesome trips. Tiana's Bayou Adventure opening. We're getting to attend cast member. We're getting to attend annual pass holder preview. We will be there on opening day on June 28th. Excited to share that with you, and a whole bunch of other stuff coming up. So again, hit the subscribe button. Brand new episodes every Tuesday and Friday. And of course, if you would please go out and leave us a rating and review, we would be so very thankful.
Because it'll help our show grow.
That's all we've got, if you can believe it. We'll see you real soon.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts, Main Street Magic's bringing it home for you.